What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the High Tempo Sports Podcast, episode 223. Joining me today is Easton, and we have a fun episode planned.
Yeah, that was the fastest words. Like, that was fast. That was radio fast. Coming out of your mouth, one word after another.
222 episodes in, you kind of prepares you a little bit.
Yeah, I guess you know what's coming.
Exactly. We have a fun episode today because it is the 2024 NFL season predictions pod. We do this every year. We're usually joined by Seth and Willie when we do this. Don't have a lot of spots on this couch to fit all four of those guys. And this was kind of also like incredibly last minute. The NFL season has really crept up on us. And I was like, I want to do a predictions episode pretty bad. So that's what we're doing today.
I can't believe 2 days. Like, we're going to watch NFL football Thursday.
2 days.
Oh, my word. Fantasy's going to matter.
Fantasy's going to matter. You actually have to, like, set your lineups now. You're not just, like, staring at other teams to see what trades you want to make. I have a big lineup of drafts going. We had a draft last night. I have my family draft tonight. I think I might be doing another league that spawned out of nowhere, and I might be doing that draft tomorrow night. So it's just...
So how many leagues are you in? Dynasties included.
I believe I'm in 6 leagues, not counting this one that might be happening. So that would make it 7.
That's not bad. It's
totally
7?
Bad. That's totally bad.
Yeah, that's too many. I'm in 4 and kind of overwhelmed.
Oh,
it's
4,
my first
even
year in
4 is
4.
a lot. 3, I think, is the perfect amount as long as the third league is like your league.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
No offense, your family league.
Yeah.
Or your like co-workers league, you know?
Yeah, I'd say that's my lowest tiered one. But I don't know. I really don't care about Debbie Dynasty.
I don't either. That one's at the bottom.
Part of the issue is I've been trying to trade Tyreek Hill for a week. And, like, how does he have no value? Like, I can't get a QB. I can't get a first-round pick. I can't get
Well, it's just also, like, the problem is when you have multiple fantasy leagues all with the same dudes, you know? Yeah. Like, if you're going to be in 5 or 6 different fantasy leagues, you would prefer for them all to be in different groups of people because they can all be active, I guess.
And totally different.
Yeah. If you're in the same fantasy league like we are with like 3 different leagues with basically the same kind of group of dudes, like it's really tough to get people to like, hey, want to make a trade? And you're like, what league?
Yeah. Which league is never what you want to hear.
Yeah.
Shoot, you might not be as invested as I am.
Because you obviously need to prioritize different leagues as well, which I do. I also like still try to win in all my leagues, you know?
Yeah.
So it's tough, but like we were kind of talking about this beforehand. There's the leagues that just nothing happens in, too. There's the leagues where just your family league, sometimes your coworkers league. There's no trades that are going to happen the whole year.
The only thing that matters is the waiver wire.
Exactly. Just picking up on waivers and setting your lineup. Like, there are leagues where you can just look at that league twice a week, basically.
You know what's weird?
What?
No team fantasy this year.
No team league. Team league died. Team league died hard.
I mean, team league sucks.
Team league was fun. I liked team league. Okay, so if you don't know what Team League was, we kind of explained this on the pod before. We did this the last 2 years. I think it was pretty fun, mainly because me and Seth were like the co-commissioners of it.
Yeah, you guys created that.
Essentially, there was 14 guys in this league. Every single week, it would have been way more fun if there was 32 teams in this league.
Absolutely.
But obviously, like, you couldn't do that. 14 guys in this league. Basically, every week we did a random draft order, and you drafted a team in fantasy for that week. So if I get the first pick, I'm picking the Lions. My fantasy team is Jared Goff, Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery, St. Brown.
All the way to the kicker
Laporta.
and the punter.
All the way to the kicker and the punter. We had kicker, punter, defense. You had one defensive player. You had the head coach, and the head coach got points for like if your team won, and if you lost points. It was down to a science, essentially. And then we did it that whoever got the 14th pick in the league every week, because you kind of get screwed because there's not 14 good fantasy teams. There's like 5. But if you got the 14th pick, you got to choose one player from the pool of teams that were not selected. So, AKA, like, the Giants never got picked once. So, Saquon, Breece Hall got picked a lot because the Jets never got picked last year. Garrett Wilson wasn't that good in fantasy last year. But Derrick Henry of the Titans got picked a lot. Jonathan Taylor of the Colts got picked a lot. So, it was fun. And it just died because people quit doing it. And
I mean, it was such a gimmick league.
It's a gimmick league.
And it can only stay around for so long.
Fun idea.
Yeah.
But it just it's hard to keep active with all the time because you're doing a lot. You know, you send out the draft order on Tuesday, and it's like, okay, by Thursday we need 14 guys to pick their teams. Yeah. But it's not like we're doing the draft at 8:00 tonight. It's just like as soon as the order's out, it's a
It's a slow draft.
It's a 48-hour draft until that Thursday Night Football game of picking your teams. And it just, a lot of the times it would be at the last second all the teams are picked.
Yeah, it was so funny because it was cool for a little bit, and then it became like, it's not easy to pick up, and there's no easy way to pick up and drop entire teams.
Yeah,
and that becomes just as annoying as everything. Because then, like, of course, you're waiting. Like, let's say I did pick the Colts. A, somebody might have had them last week, or B, somebody has Jonathan Taylor and hasn't dropped them yet. When I'm sitting there looking
That's true. That was the worst part, is if you pick the Eagles and then Jake's got the Eagles and you text him to drop him and he says okay, and then a day goes by and he still has the Eagles, and then you have the Cowboys and someone else wants the Cowboys, but it's like, I don't want to go individually drop the whole team. I can just trade him to Jake and make him do it. It was a whole process of trying to get your team set up, and it was annoying. And I was the guy that switched my team name every week to the team that I own.
Yeah, you did.
And I would try to switch the logo too. Got to a point where it was just like, the logo thing is annoying as hell on ESPN Fantasy, because I don't know if are you a Chrome guy or Safari guy on your iPhone?
I'm a Safari guy.
Okay, so it's easier for you. I'm a Chrome guy. You can't do the copy link image address and then put it in Fantasy on Google Chrome. It just will never work.
Really?
You have to go on Safari. And I would always forget that. I would go on Google Chrome, find a logo, type it in, it doesn't work.
Like, I love this logo.
Yeah, and then half the times it didn't work anyways, just because.
Oh, dude, it's the worst.
It is the worst.
Jack has like a converter app, which is nice, and my picture like this year in fantasy.
Okay, that's crazy, having the converter app just for fantasy logo.
Dude, I think it's
crazy.
Totally.
That's crazy.
I think it makes sense, because I think picking the team name and the team logo is one of the hardest things of the year. I still don't like my team name. I'm the Anemones. I don't like it.
What is that? I was wondering.
So I was watching TV the other day. We put on like Sunday morning cartoons, and Sweet Life on Deck was on, and I had no idea that there was a fantasy football episode in the Sweet Life on Deck.
Really?
And like Kurt Warner's on the episode. He plays London Tipton, owns the Arizona Cardinals, and Kurt Warner is in their fantasy draft, and he comes on and everything. But Zach, his team name is the Anemones. And I just thought that was like so
okay,
funny.
That's cool.
But
it's pretty niche.
Yeah, it's very niche. And my picture is supposed to be Zach, but I couldn't get a picture that actually worked in the images.
Exactly.
The only one I could get to work was a picture of Adam Sandler with both the Sprouse twins. So
that's just
and it's really zoomed out. You can't even tell it's either the Sprouse twins or Adam Sandler.
Yeah, that's the worst part. You can barely even see the picture.
It's
anyways,
just a guy
because it's so small. Yeah.
Like,
oh, that's hilarious.
With two kids. It's really funny. Really funny.
Yeah. So so are you done with fantasy drafts? Like,
yeah.
Are you all?
Set my last fantasy draft, I screwed up pretty bad. I had Travis Kelce in the 5th round, sitting there, and I just overthought the whole draft.
Okay.
I went, I already have Kelce, blah blah blah. And I ended up taking Ramondre Stevenson over Travis Kelce.
Ooh.
And it's just like, it's one of those picks where you instantly click it. Travis Kelce goes off the board, and you're like, why did I just fumble the easiest pick of the draft?
Right. When I could have got Brian Robinson a round later, and he's just like the same as Ramondre.
Guy.
Yeah.
And all I'm sitting there thinking about is, you just had the draft handed to you. And you had Josh Allen and Kelce right there, and you took Ramondre Stevenson.
That's tough.
I just overthought the draft. Just overthought
That's all right. It happens.
Team's still good, though.
Yeah.
Team's still really
that's all
good.
that matters.
I have Marvin Harrison and Tyreek in that. I had the 5th overall pick and got Tyreek Hill because Amon-Ra went 3rd, which was really nice.
That's pretty
I
wild.
expected to take Amon-Ra at 5 because I knew Bijan, Brees, and all those guys were off.
Right.
So I was like, oh yeah, I'll just take Amon-Ra. He's my favorite of the tier 2 of super. Like, it's CD and Reek, and then it's everybody else.
Yeah, right.
And I like Amon-Ra in all honesty.
So you know how I don't enjoy having Lions players in fantasy? It's just like not my thing. I'm starting to realize that I think now that, especially that they're really good, it's different, but I think I need to get the Lions players in the leagues that I don't care about that much. Mm-hmm. I think that's the place I need to get them, because I was thinking about it. I've never had Amon-Ra in fantasy. Never in any of my leagues, ever.
He is the best guy.
This is year 4 of Amon-Ra. I've never had him once. Like, I'm in 6 freaking leagues, dude, and I've never had him in any of them. Now, a few of them are dynasty leagues, and my team doesn't change very much, but like, it's still just pretty weird. I'm really rocking the black Amon-Ra jersey
and
right now.
refuse to draft him because he's on your own team.
Right, which I think it is valid. I hate, like, in the leagues that I care about, in a primetime matchup, I hate that I have to root for Amon-Ra St. Brown and not the Lions. I hate that when J-Mo scores a touchdown, or Gibbs or Laporta, I'm 98% happy, because that 2% of me is like, wasn't Amon-Ra.
Yeah.
I hate that. Like, that is my least favorite thing in the world.
And
because I also just really prioritize
fantasy.
the Lions over fantasy.
Yeah.
And other people don't, which is fine, but that's how I am, you know?
Ultimately, like, this is where it's come, especially in the last, like, obviously last year with them being really good. If you have one of those guys, Amon-Ra, Laporta, Gibbs, Montgomery, as long as the Lions are playing well, there was a 95% chance every single one of them was good.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, so you don't have to worry about, like even as a Gibbs owner, I never once was mad at the Montgomery touchdown. Because it's like, it never really hurt.
But you didn't have Gibbs those first 6 weeks.
No, you're right.
Like, remember Ivan last year?
Yeah, but
Ivan was going through it those first 6 weeks when Montgomery was going crazy.
Had Monty.
And Gibbs was like, I mean, he just didn't get much opportunity. You know, he was putting up 8 fantasy points a game.
And he did miss those 2 touchdowns.
And the Lions started 5-1, you know? And it's just like, he was, part of him was feeling that certain type of way. And obviously, like I said, that's just the leagues that you really care about a lot, that you are rooting for those guys super hardcore.
Amon-Ra's just totally safe, though. Like, he is 10 catches, 100 yards a game type guy.
Basically.
And if not, he had a touchdown.
Right, yeah.
So he's like the safest guy in the world to be like, oh yeah, I'm a fan of his team. Plus, I love him. Yeah, Lions players, it totally works right now with how good the offense is.
It does. It for sure does.
You can do it.
It just sucks when you're playing against him.
I don't know if I would have drafted Laporta this year with how high.
Just because of how high he's going.
Yeah, but I still I think he's a top 3 tight end in fantasy.
Yeah, I think so too. I just think that the tight end position isn't as like luxurious as it has been in the past couple of years, where it's like, this guy's so good that I need to take him this high. Obviously, there's no tight end going in the first round anymore, and most drafts not going in the top 2 rounds anymore because Kelsey has dipped from that spot. But it's because of that reason. You know, Kelsey was in a tier where it was like, it is such an advantage to have this guy at this position. That's why you take him that high. It's not like that anymore.
No, he's not alone. There's 3 or 4 guys that I'm confident that could finish.
I've seen drafts where Laporta goes over Kelsey in the first.
That's
like
the way
Laporta's
it was
tight end 1. I think in the one draft I did last night, Laporta was the first tight end off the board.
I took him freaking 21st in
In
our
ours?
draft. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just don't know why I reached for him so bad.
So wait, you just said you don't love Laporta this year, and you took him. I kind of
No,
forgot
I
about
took
that.
Kelsey. No, I took
Kelsey.
Kelsey.
Okay, yes.
I took Kelsey.
That's right.
21. And it's just it was bad. But that was my first real draft with real people. So I didn't really know how late the tight ends were
We did
going.
it too early. We shouldn't have.
Dude, we did it too early. Absolutely, dude. Rashee Rice is going a whole round earlier than he was.
That's all right.
It's bad.
So this league that I might be doing is with the guys at the Mitt. There's 6 of us, and we're like, well, what do we do?
Double flex.
We're thinking about double flex, 3 RBs, 3 receivers, super flex, double flex. Like, just going crazy. Like, you have 12 starters or whatever.
Yeah, and just no kicker, no defense.
Maybe. I
Not
don't
with
know.
6 dudes.
Yeah.
Just kick the kicker.
Because you can do a 6 or 8 man league. Like, our family league was 8 man for the longest time. But the problem is it was just standard starters with a small bench.
Yeah.
So you need to, if you're going to do that small of a league, it has to be expanded starting lineups so that there's still room for like you to have a bad start, you know, like, or else everyone's just going to go crazy.
And what do? Just shorten the bench up a ton so that you actually have to use the waiver wire?
Maybe. We haven't really discussed it that much. And I don't even know if it's going to happen, but I kind of want it to happen. I think that would be fun to just have a God squad like that.
Dude, and I'm just thinking about this because I've been pretty frustrated with our leadership in our league personally.
Yeah.
Can you believe people voted for Cade to be fantasy commissioner? Well, yeah, you can't vote for yourself. I voted for you, and I was pretty. This is getting. I hope something. This would. I'm just Cade. If you're listening, bump you up on my list. I would love to remove defense and kicker and add a flex spot. Let's just do that. Let's get rid of defense and kicker. We're too good of a league to still play. And I used to like the randomness of it, but now I'm so against it. I'm so against the stupid randomness.
The 30-point defense weeks. The 18-point kicker.
I start the Cowboys. I'm good at fantasy. No, you're not, dude. They had 4 picks and 2 pick sixes. You got lucky.
Yeah, I'm the pick up a new defense every week guy because that's how much I don't really care about it. I hate having to commit to a team defense the entire year. I think it's a poor way of playing fantasy because if you draft the Cowboys defense or the Niners defense, what are you going to do? Drop them? No, you have them all year, but then what about when they're on bye? What about when they play a good team and you know they're not going to have a lot of points? So what, do you have to have 2 defenses on your team?
Yeah.
That's the craziest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, my thing is at some point I just get sick of like having to deal with that. Like we'll be week 4 and I might be like, okay, sick of the Cowboys defense. I'm just going to drop them.
Yeah, I do that. I don't care what defense. I will drop them every week.
Ultimately, it was my 14th round pick.
Right.
Like, it really doesn't. Like, even if they were the second defense off the board or
but then in
the
round 1 of the fantasy playoffs, they're playing the New York Jets without Aaron Rodgers, and it's like, okay, immediate 25 bomb coming from them.
Yeah, for real.
Instead of 4 from whatever defense you have, which makes things kind of tough.
I hate it.
Yeah, I've thought about the I'm not in a league other than the Devy league that is no defense, no kicker. Every other league I'm in is a defense kicker. Or I guess my other dynasty league is no defense, no kicker too. Yeah, probably just add a flex. But I also like our league because it's my only league I'm in that is true. Nothing has changed.
Standard.
Like it's a standard PPR league with the base settings. Every other league I have has some sort of change to it that makes it different. And I do kind of like that about our league, that it's like it is a raw redraft league, you know?
Nobody
PPR.
can complain about it being weird, in all honesty. Like, this is too
like there's
outside.
There's no weird settings that change the way you draft and everything, which I do like.
That's what I like. I do love that about our.
Yeah,
I was so happy we didn't make any.
Well, I think we did change the passer yards thing, right?
Oh, I thought it stayed at 0.4.
I think that got changed. I don't know 100%. I guess we'll have to find out.
Wish we had a big commissioner announcement.
Exactly. We don't even know.
God.
Okay, I think we should probably hop into this predictions episode.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, I'm going to guess 20 minutes in talking about nothing, 16 minutes. So yeah, if you're excited for fantasy football, hopefully you enjoyed that conversation. If not, it's time to get to our predictions. So the way we're going to do this and the way we do it every year is we are going to predict each award, and we are also going to predict the standings for each division and then give our playoff predictions and give our Super Bowl winner predictions. I also have some odds I want to talk about because there's just a lot of this time of year, the NFL future slate on sports books is just hilarious. Do you ever listen to the Bill Simmons podcast by any chance?
You were talking about this. I love Bill Simmons. I don't listen to his podcast, but I love Bill Simmons.
Yeah.
What is to not like about him? Because there are a lot of people
who dislike him,
who are big Bill Simmons haters. I have never disliked the guy.
I don't even I like him. I think he is so hilarious. Like more than so I even like him. I just think he is the funniest guy ever. Him and Russillo together are a power duo.
I love Russillo, dude. He is funny, man.
Just hilarious guys. Like I will listen. I think the Bill Simmons pod is my number one listen to pod at this point.
Really? So I need to start listening.
Like I listen to every episode.
So it's him and Russillo?
No, it's just him. It's just the Bill Simmons pod. And he has different people on. During basketball season, he would have Russillo on every week. And that's always a lot of fun. But it's football season's back, so it's cousin Sal who's on the board, and they do a huge future slate, and they're partnered with FanDuel. And they basically they called it Futures Fusion, which they were making jokes that sounds like some nightclub that was created by FanDuel. Like,
Futures
welcome
Fusion.
to Futures Fusion. And there's just 1,000 crazy niche bets that are futures bets in the NFL. So right here it's
I'll tell you if I take them or not.
So, I mean, they're so long, I can't even read the whole thing. Seattle Seahawks over 8.5 regular wins, and New England Patriots under 4.5 regular season wins, plus 310.
You can just take that one thing is one line.
Then you got all 4 AFC North teams to combine to win 40 or more regular season games. You have at least 3 of Houston Texans, Indianapolis Colts, Jacksonville Jaguars. Oh, I don't know what the rest of the teams are. I guess it doesn't say the rest to make the playoffs. It's just a group of teams. You know, there's just so many of these. The one that Bill Simmons really liked was Detroit Lions to be the number 1 seed in the NFC, Kansas City Chiefs to be the 1 seed in the AFC, plus 2,600. A lot of juice on that one.
Dude, there's a lot of juice to be made.
A lot of juice on that one. Here's a random one. Detroit Lions or Green Bay Packers to be the number 1 seed in the NFC. So it's one of those 2 teams. I don't know why the Packers would. But,
well, I think they're just saying the NFC North will be the best division.
Right.
With the best team, right? That's ultimately.
That's kind of
whoever wins the NFC North is going to be the best team.
Yeah, I think that's what they thought. Another one here. Detroit Lions to win the NFC North and Green Bay Packers to make the playoffs. Plus 380.
I mean, I've got it. I'll spoil a little bit.
Yeah, there's so many of them to go through here, and I can't even read half of them because of how long they are. Yeah, but the Futures Fusion, just hilarious slate of futures bets you could make here, and we're going to talk a little bit about odds as we go through. Do we want to do awards first or standings first?
Let's do standings first, because I think, if I give you my awards, it kind of tells you where I think you think I'm going.
Okay, so let's start off in the AFC, and we'll do the NFC second. So starting off in the AFC North, this is obviously one of the better divisions in the NFL the last couple of years. There's teams that just historically get into the playoffs, like the Pittsburgh Steelers. They made it last year at 10-7. I probably picked them to be last in this division. And they still made the playoffs. You have the Ravens, who were the number 1 overall seed last year in the AFC with the MVP Lamar Jackson. Cincinnati Bengals were last because they had injuries all year. And then the Browns had a really weird situation where they were kind of bad under Deshaun Watson, got Flacco after Deshaun goes out, and they were really good, made the playoffs. So this division had 3 playoff teams last year. Give me your order for this division.
This division, I go Ravens, Bengals, Browns, Steelers. Which is that exactly how it was last year?
No, Bengals were last year.
Oh, yeah. Because of the Burrow injury.
Yep.
Yeah, I think the Ravens are just like far and away the best team in this division. Defense, combined with like their new, another year under their OC, and you're going Derrick Henry in the offense now. I mean, the red zone should be just unbelievable for the Ravens. I'm really excited for Bengals football this year, even though I do think like they are more likely to fall than the Browns. I think the Bengals could have a bad year.
I think they could.
There's
even
a
when
really
they're
big
healthy.
chance. Absolutely. I don't think they're that good.
Yeah.
And they lost DJ Reader. Like their offense isn't that great other than their 2 receivers.
Burrow at this point could be the most injury-prone QB in the league. Like just with the long-term injuries that he's had so far in the league, not great.
Yeah, I don't think it looks great, but I still have the Bengals. Like, have everything. I think most likely everything does go right, and they're the 2 seed. But I could also see them falling right down to 4.
Yeah,
and the Browns being the more consistent and better option.
Mine's close to yours. I have Ravens, Browns, Bengals, Steelers. Putting the Steelers 4th, it doesn't seem right because they're just not gonna. One of these teams is gonna fall off, and the Steelers will get 2nd or 3rd. It just happens every year. The Ravens are plus 145 to win this division, which like it's nice to get plus odds on that, but also this is just a really tough division. The Ravens will probably still make the playoffs either way. Every team's win total is pretty high. The Ravens and Bengals both are at 10.5, and the Browns and Steelers are both at 8.5. So getting last in this division isn't a big deal. It's just really tough, man. So we both have the Ravens winning it. I think that there's just a little bit too much Bengals hype this year. Like their Bengals are plus 165 to win this division, just under the Ravens. 10.5 win total for Cincinnati, which is relatively high compared to the rest of the league. I don't know, man. I'm not all in on the Bengals this year. 1, to stay healthy, and 2, when they do stay healthy, to be as good as they were a few years ago.
A big advantage the Bengals will hold is the fact that they will play the 4th best team from every division.
Very true.
That's a very. I mean, the Lions experienced that last year. Yeah. I've predicted the Lions win total could look very similar to last year and maybe even less.
Yeah.
Because we're going to play. We have a much tougher schedule.
For sure. Totally we do.
Seed. So I think the Bengals, that's going to really benefit them.
That's a good point.
But you continue to look at the Steelers, and the Steelers will not finish last in this division.
The Steelers are going to have a top 5 defense.
They're not going to finish last.
They have a way better. I mean, as much as Russ and Justin Fields are like a meme, they're way better than Kenny Pickett and Mason Rudolph, Yeah, so it's just like
not even close.
And they added a couple pieces on offense. They drafted offensive line in the first round. It feels irresponsible to put them 4th because we both know it's not going to happen. But who else are you going to pick to go 4th in this division?
I'm not picking the Browns or the Browns or the Bengals. I'm just going to let it play
obviously it's
out.
not the Ravens.
We just both know. Honestly, we should put a bet down for Steelers to finish 3rd in the division. Is that a bet?
Let's see if there's a way we can. So you can do exact order. Like you can bet exact order for the division. So let's look at the ones that have Steelers 3rd and see which ones are the most interesting there.
Yeah, which have the best odds?
Ravens, Bengals, Steelers, Browns plus 1,000.
Okay.
Honestly, I don't hate that. The Browns are kind of in that same realm as the Steelers, where it's just
they're going to be good.
There goes that clock. The Browns' defense is going to be good enough where they're not going to be 6 wins,
Absolutely.
Whereas if we're thinking about the most realistic way for a team to have a crappy year in this division, it's the same thing that happened to the Bengals last year. I mean, the vibes there are not great right now. No. Jamar Chase probably isn't going to play week 1 because of this contract situation.
T. Higgins already went through the contract issues.
T. Higgins went through the contract issues, and guess what? He didn't get paid.
No, he demanded the trade.
He's just there still. Did he get paid? I don't think he got paid. I think
he made money.
Like I think he's on the tag. I think he's on the.
That's what I thought. Yeah,
but like he didn't get a new contract.
He's on the tag.
So he is on the tag.
Yeah.
Browns, Ravens, Steelers. Who would that put forth? Browns, Ravens, Steelers, Bengals plus 3,000.
Dude, you could hammer that plus 3,000.
Plus 3,000. I'm looking at these other Steelers third place ones. Browns, Bengals, Steelers, Ravens. How is that one plus 2,700? But
There's no way that happens. It's more likely than
that the Ravens get fourth?
Yeah.
Yeah, come on. Bengals, Browns, Steelers, Ravens is plus 2,000. I don't get how that doesn't make any sense either. Low key, Browns, Ravens, Steelers, Bengals at plus 3,000.
You mean Ravens, Browns, Steelers, Bengals?
Well, that one was Browns, Ravens. I don't see the Ravens. Okay, no, there it is right there. Ravens, Browns, Steelers, Bengals plus 2,300. I don't hate that, man.
Dude, I love that.
Are we both switching? I mean, we're literally going not off of what we did.
Seriously, we're gonna bet on the order.
And also, let's preface that this is all based off of vibes, by the way.
Oh, we are vibes.
My predictions.
Guys.
I mean, the predictions are going to be wrong. They're just wrong. But also, the NFL is a very things change in the NFL on a year-to-year basis pretty frequently compared to other leagues. Like, I'm pretty sure there's some stat that there's been 3 new playoff teams in each conference every year.
Oh.
Like, there's always 3 teams that are in that didn't make it the prior year. There's always a team that goes worst to first in their division, too. That happens literally every single year. So, I don't know if I predicted enough of that to happen, but it's just, that's what we're going off of here. I don't have facts to back up my predictions. I'm picking off of vibes.
Yeah, it's ultimately what makes the NFL great is the turnover, the fast turnover. If you're bad, you can hope to be good in 2 years.
Look at the Lions.
Yeah, I mean, and that just doesn't happen in other sports in the NBA. It's much rarer for it to happen. And even it's what makes fantasy football, like Dynasty League, so much better. It's a guy like Malik Neighbors. You might draft him this year, and next year he's a top 7 receiver.
Yeah, he could be this year. You never even know. Okay, let's move on to the AFC South, which personally, I found this division to be the toughest to rank out of all of them. And out of all 8 divisions, super difficult. Last year, the Texans ended up winning this division, I believe, right? I think so.
Yeah, they won it.
But it's every team's win total is pretty similar here. Texans at 9.5, Colts and Jags both at 8.5. The Titans are at 6.5. What did you go with for this division?
This division, and I just switched it up because it was like, you know what? This is all wrong. Well, the number 1 team in this division is going to be the Indianapolis Colts.
Okay.
The team's fully healthy. I can see this offense being unstoppable between Pittman, Anthony Richards, and Jonathan Taylor. They will just run the ball down your throat, and they have that field-stretching wide receiver. I like Adonai Mitchell a lot. I think Alec Pierce will still has good plays has good football ahead of him.
Yep.
So I have Colts, Texans, Jags, Titans. Texans are still going to ride the hot wave. I mean, they still are really, really good. And offense should be elite again this year. I've never seen a QB like CJ Stroud be able to, they ran so many 4 receiver sets and 4 guys being off the line. And it was unreal to watch CJ Stroud make play after play in that offense and just make the reads that he did as a rookie. It was really impressive. I don't see that slowing down.
Yeah.
Their receiver core got better.
For sure. It seems that a lot of people are pretty high on the Texans this year. It's a popular pick to not only win this division, but to potentially go to the Super Bowl out of the AFC, because this is a weird time where usually you can just chalk in to pick the Chiefs to go to the Super Bowl. No team has ever gone to the Super Bowl, or no team has ever won the Super Bowl 3 straight years, which is just incredible. This is something that's been around since, 1970, I think was the first year of the Super Bowl or something like that. Never a three-peat ever. They could obviously go to the Super Bowl, but it's easier to just say they're not even gonna at all. So it's kind of a tough year to pick who's going to make the Super Bowl out of the AFC if you want to be different. And a lot of people are picking the Texans. I unfortunately still am going to fall into that group of people, though. I'm usually a fade the public kind of person.
Yeah, you're definitely a fade the public.
But I have Texans first. I do have Colts second. I have Titans third and Jags fourth. I think the Jags have a disaster year this year. I think it is an absolute crapshoot in Jacksonville, and they moved to London because they're like that. They play in London 3 times a year.
Aren't they the London team?
They want them in London. The NFL wants them to go there. They're going to be terrible in Jacksonville. No one's going to go to the games. Doug Peterson's going to get fired, and they're going to move to London. I don't know if that happens this year, but it's going to happen at some point.
Trevor Lawrence won't even be the American QB anymore.
And that's the problem. That's the problem, because I do think Lawrence is pretty underrated at this point. I think people are really undervaluing how good he actually is. I think just that team is just garbage.
I think
they were terrible in the red zone last year. Their weapons were terrible. I mean, Calvin Ridley was god awful last year, and people don't really want to sit here and act like
I disagree.
He was bad last year.
I totally disagree.
I think he was bad, and I think they misused Christian Kirk as a wide receiver too last year. Their defense wasn't very good. We'll see if Trayvon Walker can take a step up for them this year with Josh Hines Allen now, or is it Allen Hines? He's the new Josh Allen now.
He's not Josh Allen.
He's not Josh Allen anymore.
Yeah.
There's an extra word in there. I just don't know where at.
What a lame.
But
dude.
also,
How
I think
insecure.
I think that the Titans are going to be better than expected. I like Levis, man. I think Levis is pretty, I think he's nice. The Titans are weird because you figured they were just going to go full rebuild this year. Like, Henry's gone. We're buying into Will Levis full time now. And they went out and just, paid a bunch of dudes this offseason. They paid Calvin Ridley. They paid L'Jarius Sneed from the Chiefs. They paid Quandre Diggs from the Seahawks. They're randomly just giving out the bag. They've got Tony Pollard. They actually paid him. I'm not saying he's good, but they paid him. So to me, it just shows that they're not ready to blow it up. They got rid of Mike Vrabel too, which that would assume that
That's
you think
the
that they're
weirdest thing
that would
ever.
make you think that they're going rebuild, which
What a
it kind of does.
ass move.
Everything I've heard about Brian Callahan going to Tennessee, he was the former OC with the Bengals. It sounds like they really believe he can take Will Levis to that next step and take that offense to a new level. Their offensive line is very young, and hopefully that they can develop and be good. I think that they're kind of getting slept on as they're just the auto pick to be last in this division, and I'm not doing it.
I think they're auto pick, but I think you're funny. Your reason for the Jags being bad, one of your main points, is Calvin Ridley.
And no, he's on the Titans, yeah.
But you're dude, but the Titans.
No, but I'm saying the Jags are gonna be bad this year.
Yeah. But who is the Titans' best offensive weapon? Because it's Ridley. He's better than Pollard.
Better than D-Hop.
Yeah, he's better than Tajay Spears.
They have another receiver, don't they?
I'm
not saying it's him.
It's what's his face, Traylon Burks.
Oh yeah, it's Traylon Burks. Yeah, I for some reason I was I know they have another receiver there. No, they have Tyler Boyd now too. Tyler Boyd's probably their wide receiver 3.
My argument.
No, you're right. You're right. That I'm not saying. Yeah, I guess.
I actually thought Ridley was awesome last year for the Jags. I sat there and I was a full on this guy is open to every single play. It feels like he had one of the highest separation percentages in the NFL of wide receivers. That's why I'm so high on him. And with Titans, I think Will Levis will air it out. I think it's just comes down to luck this year, whether or not a few more things go his way, whether or not he has a great year and a bad year. Because that's all that really happens. I mean,
Right.
Jahmyr Gibbs, even I think about, you mentioned with the weeks 1 through 6 how miserable it was. I remember a touchdown that he slipped on. That changes the whole trajectory of his first 5 weeks, where there's a swing right pass to him, or maybe it was a swing left, and he catches it and trips on his way to the end zone and doesn't score.
Yeah, he was pretty unlucky.
And then you're literally
he had the
sitting
one
there
where he ran into the goalpost.
yes, and you're Jahmyr Gibbs isn't good, but it's he's just unlucky, and I think that's so much a fantasy of whether or not you look at a player in the right light or the wrong light. I think Calvin Ridley just fell into the unlucky category last year, where it looked bad on the air, but he was actually good.
Yeah, and all this to be said, I do have the Titans are still third. I don't think they're going to be good by any
Yeah.
means. I just think they're going to be better than consensus. I'll probably take their over on the year. Little Titans, if I'm really hype on them, Titans be 6-0 in the AFC South games this year, plus 6,000. It's obviously not going to happen. Yeah, there's all these different specials for each team. Will Levis to have 5 rushing touchdowns this season, plus 600. Probably not going to happen.
That
but
seems like a high number to only be plus 600.
if it was still the Derrick Henry run team, yeah, because Derrick Henry doesn't score on the inside the 5.
Read option.
Yeah, but going back to it, I do have the Texans winning. I just think that they really are I hate to follow the group here, but I really do think Stroud he's him. He's that good. He's the best quarterback in this division. I think he's better than Lawrence. He's better than Levis, obviously, and Richardson.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I really do think that the Texans are going all in on this huge season. They went out and paid Danielle Hunter from Minnesota. They obviously have him alongside of Will Anderson there, so it's going to be a lot of fun. But this is just a tough division, man. It really is.
Yeah, I went and got Anthony Richardson in my work league draft. I'm a big Anthony Richardson guy.
I did, and I'm mad that I did it though, because I took Anthony Richardson in our draft. I wish I wouldn't have, man, because I really wanted to get Caleb Williams as my number 1 QB, and then I still got Caleb Williams.
Dude, but you can't do it. I've been in those shoes. You have to bench him every time he plays the Lions. 2 weeks, you are guaranteeing that you don't have a starting QB for 2 weeks of the year.
I'm gonna start him still.
Dude, if they win, you will feel away.
I'm trying to think who my QB was last year. Did they play the Lions?
If the Bears win, you feel some type of way. You're mad at Caleb Williams. I remember when I had Rodgers for those 2 years.
Yeah.
I had to bench him.
Yeah, but that was even different because the Lions weren't even good.
And it was still like, now think about doing it when the Lions are good. Now, maybe the argument is the Lions will actually win because we are good.
But this is, now you're just saying I should bench every player that's playing against the Lions. Like, why just the quarterback?
They're pretty important, but I've kind of thought the other way too.
I'm purposely I drafted DJ Moore over Cooper Kupp to be my flex in fantasy. I'm starting Cooper Kupp week 1. Like, Cooper Kupp will go off against the Lions.
Yeah.
And I'm not rooting for him to do that. I hope we shut him down, but I know he's gonna. So that's why I'm making an educated decision.
It's just if the QB goes off and has a good fantasy week, you're more likely to lose the football game than if the receiver went off.
I think that was more of an Aaron Rodgers thing than a QB fantasy thing. Like, Aaron Rodgers you hate him. And maybe we'll hate Caleb Williams, you know? Yeah. Like that's definitely a possibility.
I mean, he might be the most hateable young guy in the league already.
He totally could, especially if you're not a Bears. And I hate the Bears.
I
almost hate the Bears more than I hate the Packers. I might, honestly.
I think
now that Rodgers is gone, I think I might hate the Bears more.
That's so true, dude.
I really think I might.
Isn't that true, man? Like, I do not hate Jordan Love the way I freaking hated Aaron Rodgers and I hate the Bears.
I hate the Bears.
I hate the Bears.
I hate their fans.
I think they're the corniest organization in the world.
I think that they're bad. I can't wait till we talk about them because
when your best QB in history is Jay Cutler, get a new franchise.
It's already Caleb Williams.
Seriously, he's gonna be. Remember all the stats where it was like Justin Fields is actually like statistically the best QB in Bears history.
Mitch Trubisky, best
it was
QB
like
of all
already
time.
better than Jay Cutler.
That Justin Jefferson has more receiving yards than any QB has passing yards in Bears history. That's crazy. All right, let's move on. AFC East. This division is kind of a weird one. It's a 3-headed monster. I think there's 3 teams that are all up for grabs to win this division. Then the 4th team in this division potentially could be the worst team in all football. What do you got?
I have. Sorry, I just had it pulled up. I thought I didn't remember. I have Jets, Dolphins, Bills, Patriots.
Nice, Jets winning.
Ultimately, like when you watch all the camp highlights, and of course they're camp highlights, and it's Aaron Rodgers. He looks unreal, dude. Some of the balls he's throwing Garrett Wilson's way, he's just playing. It's Devontae Adams. He's just playing. Leave it up there, throw it up, and Garrett Wilson's gonna make a play. And he is still so good. There was he threw one where I swear it was a 50-yard bomb over the shoulder in the smallest window, and he's just like Aaron Rodgers sitting there back there laughing. He's like, yeah, I still got this. I'm a monster. And I think the Jets are terrifying. I think the Dolphins are going to have an unstoppable offense. I do not think you're going to be able to stop them. I think every single player on the field is going to be really, really good, especially in fantasy. I think you can go Raheem Mostert, Devon Achane, Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill. I think they're all going to be good. I don't feel the same way about the Bills and Josh Allen, in all honesty.
Yeah.
When it's been, anytime we watch the Bills and it's the Josh Allen show, it usually means things aren't going right. And it's going to be more of that this year where it's going to be the Josh Allen show, but that's not a good thing all the time.
Right.
If it has to be the Josh Allen show, something's wrong with your franchise. And I think, in all honesty, everybody's like overestimating how good this offense will be just because of Josh Allen. Like, I don't think Josh Allen is an instantly great. I think he's an instantly serviceable offense, but I don't think he's an instantly good offense, especially with these weapons around him. There is one, to me, Dalton Kincaid. I mean, I like Keon Coleman, don't get me wrong, but like, you look at proven guys, this team is like the worst for proven guys. James Cook has had one good 6-week stretch. Dalton Kincaid was good for 5 games at the end of the year last year. Like, you're really betting on a lot of things to go right with your young guys. And I do, again, I think Dalton Kincaid and James Cook are both really good.
And they lost a lot of guys, too, because they had to pay... they had the Josh Allen humongous contract, obviously, but they lost like basically everybody on their defense as well, which is... They had a really good unit the last couple of years. They did great.
I mean, they could score 17 points and win.
It feels like the Bills' Super Bowl window has came and went.
Yes.
You know, like it feels like it was there for 4 years, and it's like, oh no, Mr. Badman Mahomes was also there in the same window. I do think the Bills. It's weird though because the Bills were basically a team that made a switch in the middle of the year last year. And basically traded Stephon Diggs before they traded Stephon Diggs. And we're just like, we just need to stop giving the ball. We need to run the football. They fired their OC. They fired Ken Dorsey, made Joe Barry the OC. And things changed. Like, I think people forget the Bills were bad for a while last year. They were like under 500, losing a lot of games they shouldn't have lost. Made that switch on offense, and they started to win a lot of games. They went to the playoffs and obviously ended up losing once again to Mahomes. But, yeah, I'll just say mine. I have Dolphins, Bills, Jets, Pats.
Man.
I don't think the Dolphins are in any threat to do any damage in the playoffs. But we're talking regular season team. Dolphins are definition of regular season team.
Oh,
they just crap on the week and they are bad against the good teams. Yep. And that's just what they're going to do. They'll go 12-5 and lose in the first round of the playoffs, but they'll put up 70 points against the Raiders, They're going to put up 65 every week against the Pats. But yeah, the Dolphins, they're plus 210 to win this division, by the way, at 9.5 wins. Jets are also at 9.5 wins. Bills at 10.5 win total. Kind of crazy. I feel like no one's going to take that. Despite the Jets having the best odds to win this division, which is kind of weird. And the Pats at 4.5 wins. I'm with you on the Jets. As much as I despise Aaron Rodgers, and also as much as if I'm being realistic, like this guy's over 40 and just is coming off of a torn Achilles. Like we're just assuming that he's still elite and is going to be good as well, and going to be healthy, because we haven't seen Aaron Rodgers basically in 2 years. Like his last year in Green Bay was, one, he was injured for a good amount of the season, and two, he just wasn't. That was a bad situation that last year in Green Bay.
And Talk about vibes being
involved. And then doesn't play this past year in with the Jets. So I think it is getting a little bit too quick to assume that he's just going to be good, really good, Aaron Rodgers, and healthy. But also, this was a Jets team that I think they won 8 games last year. I believe they went 8-9. And they had probably the worst quarterback situation I've ever seen as an NFL fan in my life. I mean, Zach Wilson is the third string on Denver right now with 27-year-old Bo Nix in there and Jarrett Stidham. And Zach Wilson's the third string.
Stidham.
Who else was on the Jets QB last year? Trevor Siemian? Like, I'm trying to think of who else they had.
Dude, long neck.
Yeah, Mike Glennon.
Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
Was that not last year?
I don't think so. But they had a bunch of weird. They had this. I can't even remember that other
dude who
dude's
ran
name.
the ball,
and he was trash.
Yeah, he was bad.
He was so bad. It was Chris something. They had a guy named Chris. God, I need to find this guy's name because he was freaking terrible.
So ultimately, that was my decision on the Jets. Was like they have the best defense in football, maybe.
Chris Streveler. I don't know if you remember him.
God,
he was on the Jets. I don't know if he was played on the Jets last year or the year before. Let's find out. I got his stats pulled up here. Didn't play in 2023. Okay, never mind. 2022 he played on the Jets. So I'm a year ahead for Chris Streveler.
But
he sucked.
He sucked.
He sucked bad.
Clearly.
And so I agree. I just feel like I'm taking a little bit of a step back with the Jets. I still think they're going to be good. I still think they probably hit this over 9.5 win total. I think this 3-man top of this AFC East is actually like pretty damn good. And the Pats are going to be so bad. But yeah, with the Bills, I think going back to the Jets, they also just have one of the most complete rosters in the NFL. Like, I think if you ask most teams in the NFL, they would say that the Lions straight up have the best roster in the entire NFL right now. At least no holes. Them or the 49ers, most likely.
It's crazy how much I agree with that statement.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a huge believer that we have the best.
I really do think so.
Yeah.
But I think the Jets might be that team in the AFC. It's probably them or the Ravens for like the best roster. The Jets' offensive line got really bolstered this offseason. Obviously, Rodgers is back. Their defense is one of the best defenses in all of the NFL. Super young as well. So, yeah, I think they're going to be good. I'm just not going quite as high as everyone else, but I have them third. I'll spoil it right now. I have all 3 of these teams in the playoffs out of the AFC East. So I think they're all going to be good. Yeah,
I do as well.
So you still have the Bills in the playoffs, despite Okay, got it.
Despite it not being great, I think
it could be the end of the Bills though. Like it could be. Every team has the end of their run. They've still made the playoffs every year of the Josh Allen. Since the first time they made it.
It's ultimately they get one more year of drafting talent before it'll ultimately come down to next season. If they're bad next year, it'll be the end of the Bills.
Yeah.
But this year and next season, they get 2 more drafts, like this draft and the next draft, to see if they can rekindle and recoup. So, like, Keon Coleman could be a stud, and it could be like, oh, wait a second, Stephon Diggs, who gives a shit about that guy? Like, we have Keon Coleman.
Right, and we didn't have to pay
and then all of a sudden, boom, the championship window's right back open. Because you have Josh Allen, Keon Coleman, and a budding superstar, James Cook, maybe in the backfield. Like, they really are, like, a half year away from things going right to be right back into it.
You still have Josh Allen, who obviously can make a lot of things happen. Really does bring a lot of negative with his positive play as well. Like there still isn't a quarterback of his. It's weird. I've never seen a guy of his caliber that's as good as he is that makes as much terrible decisions as he does. But he's still regarded as elite because he is.
It's weird.
But it's because for every 2 good plays he makes, there's one where you're just like, oh my God, I'm so happy I'm not a Bills fan.
Yeah,
because I would be
seriously,
losing my
dude.
mind at this. Like, I think I would hate Josh Allen if I was a Bills fan. Honestly, I think I'd want him traded.
Yeah, I think if he won a Super Bowl, it'd be bad for his. Like, people would like actually go the other way. Like, Josh Allen isn't as good as we think. Like,
Yeah.
he's overrated.
That probably would
But
happen.
since he's not winning, people are like, oh yeah, we can afford the 6 picks that
Right.
are ridiculous every year.
For sure.
I do love his arm punts though. I love him.
Oh,
He
yeah.
just throws the ball as deep as he can, and it's a punt.
Why not? Okay, AFC West, the final division here in the AFC before we'll do the playoff picture. Who do you got in this division? Because I would say this is a 2-team division at this point, but I could be wrong here.
I think it's a 1-team division to me, and it's the Kansas City Chiefs. And then I go the Chargers, the Raiders, and the Broncos. I'm really excited for the Chargers. Maybe it's the Michigan guy in me, just hoping Jim Harbaugh works out there. But I really do think it'll work. I think excitement in the building is something that, like, even watching clips of Justin Herbert, I never see excitement from him. And I think having Jim Harbaugh in the building will really help with the excitement around the franchise and what direction they're headed in. I do find it very, like, weird that the Harbaugh brothers just, like, John just gave Jim his backfield. He's like, hey, take them both. We don't want either
Got
one
his
of them.
former OC.
You'll figure it out with these two, though. They're good enough for what you need.
It was pretty funny.
But yeah, I'm hopeful for the Chargers. I think the Raiders will be bad, and I think the Broncos will be bad.
You have Raiders or Broncos last? Sorry, I missed that part.
I think I have Raiders, then Broncos.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, the Chiefs are 11.5 win total. It's tied with the 49ers. They're the only 2 teams that are at 11.5 this year. Chiefs are also the heaviest favorite to win their division out of any team. They're minus 270 to win the division. The 49ers are second at minus 190, so quite the large gap for the Chiefs to win the division. Here's another time when I am hopping on with the public. I think this is what public conception is. I think the Chargers are going to be good this year. There's this other thing, and they talk about this a lot in the Bill Simmons pod, but it's obvious. There's always a new coach team. There's like a team with the new coach that just does really good. And like, as much as I hate Jim Harbaugh,
You can't hate him.
I don't really hate Jim Harbaugh. I think that he's a hypocrite. I think he likes to believe that he has no clue what's going on with anything, so he can't get in trouble for anything. Like, cut me with that.
You're specifically talking about Connor Salients right now.
I'm talking about everything. I'm talking about the cheeseburger thing. I'm talking just every I'm not accusing him of doing those things. It's the fact that he acts so blatantly like he has no idea that any of this is going on. You're the coach of the goddamn team.
Of the Michigan football team.
You know what's going on, and you have people telling you the rules, man.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm not saying he did these things and it was his blame, but he just acts like he's the victim, and that turns me off. But yes, Harbaugh as a character, hilarious guy.
He's awesome.
And now that he's back in the NFL, it's gonna be fun.
Yeah. He's a football guy. I mean, ultimate football guy.
Harbaugh never is bad in the NFL either, or just wherever he goes. You know, like when he went from Stanford to the 49ers, they're good right away. Alex Smith, he's good. Oh, guess what? This guy, Colin Kaepernick, I'm going to start him over Alex Smith, and we're still going to be good and go to a Super Bowl. Goes to Michigan. Obviously, it took a few years for him to be like really, really good, but he was still...
It's like college football works.
But he still became like better than any like Rich Rod and better than whatever that other dude's name was that was the Michigan coach. I'm already forgetting his name, the big fat dude.
Oh, yeah.
But like he was already better than any of those teams when he got to Michigan. And I just feel like he's going to get to this Chargers team and really fix things. The offense definitely is a little bit of a question mark, right? Because the offensive line wasn't great under Brandon Staley. They draft Joe Alt, which is a big time pick at pick 5. The weapons are very up for question mark, in that Chargers offense. But Harbaugh's going to be a run heavy team, despite being with Justin Herbert.
Brady Hoke.
Yeah, Brady Hoke. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I was yeah. What a character that guy was.
Yeah, that guy was interesting.
But yeah, I have the Chargers winning the division.
What?
Over the Chiefs. Here's why. Also, Brandon Staley was easily the worst coach in the NFL the last couple of years. Like the last several years. It was like, what? This guy is terrible.
It was him and Kellen Moore.
Yeah. Well, Kellen Moore's OC there.
Yeah.
And now he's gone. Yeah. Right, exactly.
The 2 worst coaches.
And now he's going to Philly to be the OC, and everyone's like, Philly's back. I'm like,
I love this take from you.
Oh,
This is
I
your
can't
best
wait
take.
till we get with Philly.
This is
bro.
your
I can't
best
wait till we
take.
get with Philly.
Even though I love Philly, I think they're totally bounced back.
Oh,
I
I'm
totally
not, bro.
see your,
I
see your brain.
I am not there with Philly.
I am, dude.
Teams fall off in the NFL hard. We can't just assume that everything's like, oh, it ended bad last year. It'll be fine this year. What are we talking about? But anyways, I think this is kind of what the Chiefs thing, right? I'm not saying the Chiefs are going to be bad. I think they're going to be good, but it is a three-peat. It's never happened. It's probably not going to happen this year. Maybe it will. The Chiefs weren't that good in the regular season last year. Remember, all the stuff that was going. They were losing a lot of games. They didn't. It was the first time they had to play on the road in the playoffs, like ever under Mahomes, because they didn't get a top seed. Now this division was so freaking bad that they still won it easily. But I just think that there's a world where those same issues that were happening in the regular season last year just happen again this year. It just so happens that they got to the playoffs and you can't stop Mahomes in the playoffs. But in the regular season, this Chiefs team goes 10-7. And the Chargers go 11-6 and win the division. Like, that's kind of where I'm at. So I rocked with Chargers first, Chiefs second, Broncos third, Raiders fourth. I also just wanted to be different.
Yeah, my only thing here that I've got for you is how do you lose your division when you have never lost to the division opponents?
Yeah. And
Patrick Mahomes has never lost.
He's also won this division every year that they've been in the playoffs.
And that's kind of
how many years in a row is this? 6 in a row of winning this division?
Yeah. And that's what I mean. Like the Chargers, Raiders, Broncos have 0 wins in their career against him, right?
No, not all of those teams. I think it's like just the Raiders or like just the Broncos. Or maybe he's never lost at home to them or something.
Oh,
I
think
something
you're right.
Like that.
I think you're right.
But I'm also pretty sure that one of the Broncos. No, it's not the Raiders because the Raiders beat the Chiefs I think the Raiders beat the Chiefs last year. But I think the Broncos have never beat Mahomes, though. One of the teams has never beat Mahomes.
That's what I thought, too. And they played twice. Like, it's been 12, 14
I think
games.
it's the Broncos that they have never beaten Andy Reid and Mahomes, which is hilarious. But yeah, the division is bad. So that's what could come into play for the Chiefs still winning it. But yeah, I'm all in on the Chargers, man. And it's weird because I'm not the Harbaugh guy, but I think if there is going to be a new first-year head coach that leads his team to a huge season, it's Harbaugh.
Yeah.
And it's the Chargers. I just think it's a good situation based off of how bad the previous situation was, and the Chargers were still, solid. Obviously, when Herbert gets injured last year and you have Easton Stick throwing the football.
What's wrong with that guy?
You're telling me he's going to do anything?
Yeah, not with a name like Easton. Not with that name.
That was a game where,
honestly, I didn't know I've never heard of that guy.
Didn't the Raiders beat the Chargers last year 60-0?
Yes, it was the first
under
game.
Easton Stick.
And it was the first game. Antonio.
Yes, Antonio Pierce was the coach.
Was
Yeah, they beat him 60-0, dude. And the Chargers were still kind of solid last year. Crazy that Herbert and the Chargers still have never won a playoff game. They only have one playoff appearance. Should have won a playoff game, obvioally, but
Mahomes was 30-5 against the division.
Yeah, I mean that's incredible.
Just unbelievable.
Yeah, that's less than a loss a year. That's
that is so crazy.
he's probably likely to go 6-0 every year.
That's what I'm saying.
Maybe drops one. Yeah,
and that's what I think. They have to. The Chargers better beat everybody else if they're going to lose 2 to the Chiefs
for sure.
But I don't know. Feels like low-key Jim Harbaugh could be the Andy Reid stopper.
It could be.
It
definitely could happen. Okay, so AFC playoff picture with your 1 through 4 division winners and then your 3 wild card teams. Who's got the 1 seed in the AFC for you?
I've got the Ravens being the 1 seed.
I do too.
As the 1 seed. My 2 seed is the Kansas City Chiefs. I think they're still here. I believe in them. 3 seed is the Colts. 4 seed is the Jets. The 5 seed is the Dolphins. The 6 seed is the Texans, and the 7 seed is the Bills.
Okay, nice.
So the teams that don't make it: Chargers, Bengals, Browns, both don't make it, and Steelers, because obviously they're Steelers fans who are again we are going to make the playoffs.
Yeah, which I mean, if I was a Steelers fan, I would say the same thing.
I would say
we made the playoffs last year. We went 10-7 last year, and
they have yet to miss the playoffs.
And they're just in a much better. This team is just better.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I would say the same thing.
I think the Jags, what do you do if you're in Jacksonville?
Jags are going to blow. Jags are going to suck this year. That's my opinion.
I would hate to be the GM or the owner of that team because they have no direction. They
have that really young owner.
Oh, do
like,
they?
he's like 30 or something.
Oh,
Yeah.
so that's probably a good thing for him then. He's got a lot of years to build that
Does he?
team back up. I mean, nobody's gonna force him to sell the team.
You never know. Okay, yeah, I am.
Have you seen the stat that like there's only like 200 potential people that could even own like an NBA team anymore? Yeah, potential.
Sorry.
You just missed my stat.
That was just. I heard that. That was the only thing that stuck. They could own an NFL team.
NBA. Like there's only like 200 that have enough money to
Really?
buy an NBA team anymore.
Well, yeah, that's why all of them are like groups. Like,
Yes, that's
why
what I said.
the whole
Like,
Timberwolves situation.
the
like,
Celtics.
because two of the like half the group wanted to sell the team and the other half wanted to keep it or whatever, and that was like that's why all that
It's getting
jazz
worse.
is going on.
It's
Yeah,
getting bad. We got to keep them.
yeah.
on
The
sports.
Celtics that was the funniest thing ever. The Celtics just paid everybody, went deep into the luxury tax, and they're like, all right. Good luck to whoever takes over.
Now we're gonna
this.
hire 8 dudes to be.
Now we're
the
gonna sell
owner.
the team for $70 billion or whatever it is.
And they're gonna be in tax hell for a while.
All right, so I also have the Ravens as the 1 seed. They are currently plus 600 to be the 1 seed. The Chiefs are the favorite at plus 380. Ravens 1 seed, Chargers 2 seed, because I also figure if they're going to win the division over the Chiefs, it's going to take a lot of wins. So they're not just sneaking in as the 4 seed winning that division. They're going to have to win a lot of games. Texans 3 seed, Dolphins 4 seed, and then I have Chiefs, Bills, Jets as my 3 wild card teams. Looking at like to be a wild card team, Bills are plus 250, Jets are plus 250. We both had the Bills. Chiefs to be a wild card team plus 500. Obviously, it's not just to make the playoffs; it's just specifically to be a wild card team. So yeah, the teams that missed out for me. I had only one team from the AFC North making the playoffs, just the Ravens. No Browns, no Bengals, no Steelers.
Yep,
Browns was probably the first team out, which is it still feels wrong. I kind of wanted to put the Colts in the playoffs, but I just didn't. I know you had them winning the division, so I definitely kind of thought about it there, but I picked all 3 teams from the AFC East to make it. So I'm just trying to think of the new teams that are in the playoffs here. Chargers are new, and Jets are new. So at least I have 2 new teams. That makes me feel a little bit better. Because I'm pretty sure it's got to be 3. I think it's 3 new teams every year make the playoffs on each side. I'll take 2.
Yeah, I've got
You have Colts, right?
Colts. Yep, I've got Colts.
Colts, Jets.
Colts, Jets is the only 2 I've got.
Yeah, that's totally fair.
We're good with that.
In all reality, the Bills probably miss and the Bengals make it to make this this real.
I love the whole 3 teams getting in from a division. It's my favorite part of football.
Yeah.
Is when a division is good enough that 3 teams can
Yeah, I definitely like that. Okay, let's move on to the NFC. Starting off in the NFC North, we got to talk about the Lions, who are the current favorite to win this division at plus 125. They're also at a 10.5 win total this year. And also my favorite futures bet that I still haven't placed, but I got to do it, is Lions to be the 1 seed at plus 480. Give me that, dude.
It's easy.
You know who's the favorite to be the 1 seed in the NFC? They're tied with the 49ers, I'll say. So they're not the true one.
Oh, but it's not the Lions?
No. Lions are technically third. It's
Eagles?
the damn Eagles.
Yeah. Okay.
Are we kidding? Are you serious?
Dude, I don't think that's that crazy.
All right, let's talk about the NFC North, and then we'll talk about the
I do
Eagles.
not think that's that crazy.
Give me your NFC North 1
it's
through 4.
Lions, Packers, Bears, Vikings.
And it sucks because that's just what it is.
It's just so simple. Now, I hate to be this guy because I'm a Lions fan.
Packers could win the division.
They can win the division. And we're just going to have to stomach it, and we're going to have to let it ride out and understand that our window might have been smaller than we thought.
And maybe that's what that Bill Simmons bet is. It's like if the Packers are going to win the division, it's going to take so much wins over the Lions that they're going to be the 1 seed. You know?
Facts, because we're that good of a division.
Right.
Like, it's ultimately saying, like, this is the best division in football.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that's even crazy. I mean, I don't think it's insane to think the Packers and Lions can't be top 4 teams. Both of them can't be the top 4 teams in the NFC. Maybe top 3. If you think the Eagles are bad, who's the 3rd best team in the NFC?
The Cowboys.
Over the Eagles? Or over
Totally.
the Packers, I mean?
Oh, like, I'm getting what you're saying. Yeah.
Who's the 3rd best team?
It's Cowboys. I would say Cowboys.
I think I'm going Packers.
But that's fair. Yeah.
I think I'd say Packers
Definitely.
are the 3rd best team, which is scary. It sucks.
But also, I just think that the Lions and Niners are in their own tier.
Me
Like,
too.
and then it's just a bunch of just like, I don't know.
yeah, who gives a shit?
Yeah, like
We'll beat 'em when
these
they
teams
come.
have no chance of making the Super Bowl.
Yeah, when it
it's
comes to
Lions or
playoffs.
Niners in the Super Bowl. Like as much as it's the NFL's new every year and everything. Yeah, it's new for who gets in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Who goes far and makes the Super Bowl? It's Lions or Niners. I mean, it's got to be. And hopefully the seeds match up where we can play each other in the NFC Championship again, because that would kind of blow if we had to play each other in like round 1 or something.
And we are the new Niners. We are that team. We have the deepest roster.
Well,
in the
we're
NFL.
never gonna win the Super Bowl.
Just lose in the Super Bowl.
Not in a long time.
Yeah, but like,
I mean, no, they've won like 6 Super Bowls, obviously, but they just in modern times the 49ers just
Super Bowl?
Steve Young, Joe Montana times.
No. They won one since Aaron Rodgers has been drafted.
The 49ers?
Yeah, because that's the whole thing. How many Super Bowls do they have? And they both have one. I thought so, at least.
I don't think so, unless I'm like being mistaken.
No, maybe you're right.
They lost the one to the Hard. They lost the Hard Bowl to the Ravens.
Yeah.
They lost to the Chiefs twice.
Yeah, they didn't win one. You're right.
Yeah, I don't think they have.
Right. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Because we would know who the Super Bowl winning QB is. And there isn't one. I mean, there's Alex Smith, and there's nobody. Jimmy G. Yeah, you're right. Nobody. 49ers haven't won it. Well, shit, never mind. We're not the new Niners. We're the new Chiefs, bitch.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, for that I had the same exact order, by the way. Lions, Packers, Bears, Vikings. For that exact order to go down, it is plus 600.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
That's so funny that we looked at some other ones that were like plus 3,000.
Yeah.
And that one's just like, this
that's still pretty good, though, because it sucks because it's so obvious.
It's not going to happen.
But I think it just is. It's so obvious that it is going to happen because it is that obvious.
You've never been that way. This is the first time in your life.
But you know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes there's things that are so like you always are like, oh, that's too obvious. No, this is too obvious that like it is going to happen because it's so obvious.
But
I'm not there with the Bears, man.
Them damn Bears.
I just think that the way that I view it is a lot of people believe that Caleb Williams, the way that they are basically explaining their Bears are going to be good take is that he's going to do what Stroud did last year. And like, are we joking?
BFFR.
Yeah, BFFR for real.
Seriously. For real.
Like that Stroud just had one of the most historic, like probably had the best rookie quarterback season of all time. There's going to be some old heads that are like, oh, Johnny Unitas had a great rookie year. You know, like
remember old Johnny U for the Colts?
Yeah. Like Stroud statistically had one of the best rookie seasons last year. Didn't turn the ball over either. That's the part that
it was the best.
He did. And that's the part that I think I'm most frustrated with is like Caleb Williams is going to turn the football over. Like that's just the type of quarterback he is. Not saying that he's going to be bad because that's how he's going to turn it over. Like, no, that's how he plays.
Yeah.
He plays in dysfunction. And that's his strong suit, I guess.
It's Josh Allen.
Basically. And so the way that Stroud was so good was that he was so efficient with that offense. Now, I think the Bears are going to be better. Their defense was completely flipped around midway through the year last year after getting Montez Sweat. But I did the same thing last year, man. There was that Bears hype last year that was just the Bears are making the playoffs, and it's like they start off 0-4, and it's just like, yeah, we saw this coming, man. They have Justin Fields as their quarterback.
Yeah.
Now, this is the thing. I do think Caleb Williams is a much improved QB than Justin Fields. Caleb Williams is coming into potentially like the best situation ever by a first overall pick quarterback. Like this never happens.
Their offense is loaded.
Their offense is loaded and their defense is good. Their offensive line is up in the air, but it's like, okay, like that's the worst thing ever, you know? So it's going to be interesting. I just can't put them over the Packers.
No, me either.
I still think they'll be fine. You know?
I think in a year they'll be competing for the division.
Yes.
Like, they're 1 year away, but, like, they're not there yet.
And I still think Caleb Williams is going to be good, too. You know, I'm not, but to say he's going to be that good is asking for something historic to happen 2 years in a row.
Yeah. The Bears should hope to have the season that the Packers had last year.
Yeah.
That would be a good year for the Bears.
It just so happens that the Packers is also in their division.
Yes.
And the Lions, so.
And yeah.
And then the Vikings, I mean, like, I think their only hope of having a really good year is like JJ just like is way better than we thought as a rookie, and JJ's out for the year now. So it's like they have Jefferson, cool. There's a lot of weird stuff going on there in Minnesota too.
I would actually think the key to their season is whether or not Kevin O'Connell can coach.
You don't think he can?
No, I'm saying that's whether or not they're good or bad. I think that's the ultimate determinant. Like, this is the year where you figure out if Kevin O'Connell's a really, really good NFL coach.
Yeah.
Because he's got nothing except for Justin Jefferson. Like,
right.
And he's got Sam Darnold, who's never been good, but bad situations. I mean, Jets
and
Panthers.
I am kind of one of those guys that's like, I think Darnold is better than like bad.
So this could be a really good year for Kevin O'Connell, in all honesty.
Yeah.
Being like, I'm actually a great coach. Look at how I get the ball to my players.
He's better than any of those QBs that they had playing last year after Kirk went out. You know, when it was like, I mean, like Josh Dobbs had the stretch of games, but like that was more so just like a fun thing that was going on. But then they had like Jaron Hall. They had Nick Mullins. Like Darnold is obviously better than those guys. They have a weird, like, I don't know. We'll see what happens with them. Yeah, but it's kind of funky because the Lions plus 125 to win this division, getting the Lions at plus odds to win the division seems kind of sketch. And that's what kind of makes me worried that, like, damn, are we actually not going to win the division? Like the Packers at plus 210? You know, because people are probably hammering Lions plus 125 to win the division.
And they're not changing it.
And it hasn't been moved, yes. It definitely is a little weird. It's a little sketchy. We obviously have a much tougher schedule this year, but we also were good in big games, and we were great. And the Lions have a lot of primetime games. We were really good in primetime last year. I don't know. Sometimes the moment becomes too big, and I also do realize that it's really hard to be really good in the NFL back-to-back seasons without Mahomes. You know, it's just even the teams like the Ravens, they have the years where they just like injuries. They're 9-8, miss the playoffs.
2 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. Without Mahomes, it's so hard to just be that good. But I think our roster is just it's too good for things to go that terribly, and I could be jinxing it.
No, I 1,000% agree with you. We are one of the teams in the NFL where it's like a guy can get hurt and the expectations shouldn't change. Mm-hmm. Now, 4 guys get hurt, it's a different story. You know, Aiden Hutchinson, DJ Reader go down. We're probably not winning a Super Bowl this year. There's a lot of things that have to go right, and ultimately last year, all those things did go right. We were pretty solid. We were a pretty healthy football team all year. We usually had 1 lineman out at a time, but you keep 8. Yeah. So you feel pretty comfortable.
By playoffs, we were pretty healthy. Like we did get pretty lucky last year for sure.
And that's kind of where I'm at with like ultimately everything went right last year. Expect something to go wrong this year a little bit more.
And it's also just like
it's the NFL.
We were in the NFC Championship game last year with Cam Sutton and Kendall Vildor as our starting corners. God. Like we were never winning a Super Bowl.
Remember?
That, you know,
I went back.
But look at what we have now. You know, it's fun.
I went back and listened to an old podcast, and there was like a 7th string wide receiver in the Lions who was making some noise. And I remember, and you listed off
Antoine Green, probably.
No, it wasn't him.
Oh, okay. Anyways,
but you mentioned like, he had a really good day the other day against Cam Sutton, and like it turns out that was not a sign
Cam Sutton just blows.
It wasn't a sign of him being a good receiver. It was the sign of Cam Sutton's washed. This guy.
Cam Sutton sucks, and now he's back on the Steelers, which is just hilarious because he's suspended for like half the season. So, and I also just I do. Like I said, I'm a fade the public kind of guy. Everybody's loving the Lions. Like the Lions hype train, a lot of people are picking them to win the Super Bowl. Like it is really a thing of picking the Lions. But as a Lions fan, I'm choosing to, instead of being scared by all this, to really embrace it.
Yeah.
Like it's meant to be. Like they're picking us for a reason.
Yep.
You know? Typically I wouldn't do that. And if it wasn't my team, I would fade that team because that's just stuff like that usually happens in sports in general.
I think that's something you can be okay with this year.
Like, this is our year, dude. Like, Ben Johnson stayed. Aaron Glenn stayed. This is the freaking year.
Dude, you know how crazy it would be? Oh, you're getting me pumped up.
I know.
You're getting me pumped up.
We're so close to Sunday. All right, let's move on. NFC South, probably the worst division of all football. It has been for a couple years, ever since Tom Brady left. And even Tom Brady's last year, this division sucked. What do you got going for this division, man?
I went Bucks, Falcons, Panthers, Saints.
I did the same exact thing. It's kind of surprising. I'm not really buying all the Falcons hype. Everyone's just like writing the Falcons in to be the number one.
And I'll tell you who I'm like fading the hardest is the Saints.
Yeah, bro,
dude,
I'm with you.
They are gonna suck.
I'm with you on that, dude.
They don't have a weapon.
They
like I like Chris
They got
Olave.
rid of Michael Thomas. Yeah, wait, they have Chris Olave at least.
Dude, what has he really done, dude? I am being so for real. I love Chris Olave as the talent, but is Chris Olave on the Saints?
What has he really done?
Dude, Derek Carr prefers Rashid Shaheed.
He does.
He throws more deep balls
too,
to Rashid Shaheed.
That guy's a playmaker.
That is a terrible sign of things to come. You still have Alvin Kamara and Jamal Williams. That's your backfield.
Taysom Hill. They have a weapon. They have the weapon.
Dude, that is the worst team in football.
Yeah, their defense is terrible.
That team's going to suck.
I think Dennis Allen, I saw something that he was most likely to be fired, like quickest coach to be fired, or coach to be fired first this season or whatever, was Dennis Allen of the Saints. Yeah, I think that they're going to be terrible. I think the only way they don't finish last is like the Panthers also were the worst team in the league last year, and they didn't have a first-round pick. So, like, you know, that might be a thing. But yeah, I'm putting the Bucks back in.
And by the way, Bryce Young is back.
I don't know if I'm there with that.
I am.
Might take another year.
Okay.
Might take another year. I'm not out on Bryce Young, but I don't think I think that the fact he was taken over CJ Stroud it will always limit him in conversations. You know, like when you're talking about how good Bryce Young is, like, well, they could add Stroud. You know, like that's always going to be the thing.
But no, we are 2 years away.
Is he the fourth best quarterback out of his draft class? I know
this sounds crazy. This is possible, and we are possibly 2 years away from it being, it could flip like that.
No.
Yes.
No,
dude.
it could not.
Yes, dude. If CJ Stroud and the Texans underperform and the Panthers overperform with Xavier Legette, Deontay Johnson, and Thielen, I'm saying 2 years away. So we are two more seasons.
This Panthers team has like, I'm not there, man.
Dude, I just think Bryce Young's a good QB. I think he's a great QB, and I think like
that's fine.
I think he had a bad rookie year because he was a rookie, not because he's a bad QB. So but I think like it's.
I get that, but what I'm saying is like, you could say like he had a bad year because he was QB year because he was a rookie and everything, and then you look at like CJ Stroud. He also was a rookie in the same class. You know?
All I'm saying is
taken after him.
It could flip. Like right now, we are in like he is the fourth best QB.
It could.
But all I'm saying is don't be shocked when in 2 years everything flips and it's like, oh no, actually it is a Bryce Young, CJ Stroud conversation.
What's more likely, that happening or in 2 years Bryce Young is benched and is the fourth best quarterback out of his draft class despite going first overall?
The first scenario is more likely.
Who's going to be better in 3 years, Bryce Young or Anthony Richardson?
That's a tough one. That's really tough.
Who's going to be better in 3 years, Bryce Young or Will Levis?
Bryce Young. I'm pretty comfortable saying Bryce Young there.
And then
I don't know.
Stroud,
I mean, maybe this is the class for 4 QBs.
Wasn't there another QB that was taken too, or am I just tripping?
I think you are tripping.
Yeah, I think that was it actually. Yeah.
Yeah, because a lot of QBs coming in this year.
Yeah, ton of QBs coming in, and one of them's going to be bad at least.
I don't know which one though.
I don't know either. I was kind of on draft night. I like penciled in Jaden Daniels to be the bad one, and I'm kind of thinking maybe Drake May is going to be the bad one.
I'm thinking it's Jaden Daniels, dude. They gave up the most sacks in football last season. Yeah. He's going to be the ultimate scramble QB.
And he takes
he might be a good
hits.
fantasy QB.
Oh, he'll be a good fantasy QB.
That's
for sure.
Trust me, don't
he'll be
take
like
him
Fields,
in fantasy.
yeah.
But like Bo Nix and Drake May could both be better QBs than him this season.
Maybe.
Just
May, who knows how much May will play.
do.
I hope May doesn't play. I mean, that Patriots team is terrible. Like, I hope they don't, because it's just going to be bad. Like, it's not going to be good if he plays.
I want Drake May because I have Jalen Polk. And I like Jalen Polk a lot.
Okay. You don't think Jacoby Brissett can get him that rock?
Not the way Drake May can. Drake May
everything I've heard from Pats fans is that, like, their O-line is, like, maybe worst of all time O-line this year. And it's just, like even they don't want
maybe maybe that's the team I saw the highlights of, like, the worst tackle in football. Like, he was hilariously bad. That could have been it. I'm big on Bo Nix though.
But yeah, I had the same 4 as you, by the way. The Falcons, I don't know. Everyone's just kind of writing the Falcons in to be the team in this division. I love Kirk, and I'm a big Kirk fan, but he's coming off a torn ACL or torn Achilles. I can't remember which one. And he's an aging quarterback, and it's just, that's never something that I can just be like, yeah, throw him in there, and they're going to be really good now. They're probably going to be the team. They added a lot of pieces on defense this year. They just traded for Matt Judon, I believe, right?
Oh, did they get him?
Somebody
good for them.
They either got him or there was another guy that was up for trade. I can't remember if it was them or not. I believe it was them. And then they obviously signed Justin Simmons of the Broncos as well. So they added pieces defensively. They bring in Kirk Cousins. Their quarterback was terrible last year. Ritter was god awful. He doesn't even have a job right now. The Cardinals cut him, which is kind of hilarious. So you would assume that jump at QB, you would assume that jump at QB gets them the division. But the Bucs were solid last year. They probably overperformed last year under first-year Baker. They lost Dave Canales, who was their OC, and now he's the Panthers head coach, which is kind of funny. So I still have the Bucs winning, though. They're plus 310 to win this division, too, so you can get some juice on that. Falcons are minus 145. So, they're just getting written in, and I'm just like, they've had the opportunity the last couple of years to do it, and they haven't. Like, I can't just give it to them.
Yeah, and maybe they're looking at like they're another team that falls into we had the worst QB or the worst coaching situation in the league, where the Arthur Smith, we're gonna run with 3 different running backs, like type thing. Like, so ultimately they will be.
We're gonna give Jonnu Smith the football more than Kyle Pitts.
Yeah, and Bijan. Yeah. Like he might get touches. Cordero Patterson's gonna out.
Like Bijan has like offensive player of the year potential.
Absolutely.
This season. Yeah, so. But also, you can write this team in to be 4th in the.
And again, like I can only say so many aging QBs coming off massive, almost career-ending injuries for most players. Well, not anymore, but what used to be a career-ending injury. I can only think so many of them are going to come in and lead their team to be good.
Yeah,
I can't have the Jets and
especially
the
on a new team. And also, they drafted Michael Penix 8th overall. Like, that's already,
and he's good.
It's just kind of weird. It's a weird thing to do.
Dude, there's a lot of QBs this year. Wow.
A lot of QBs.
Drake May, Jane Daniels,
Penix,
Bo Nix, and then who else?
Caleb Williams.
Yeah. Holy, that's a lot of QBs.
A lot of QBs, dude. What time you got to be out of here, by the way?
I've got 7:30.
Okay, cool.
Workouts at 8.
Okay, moving on. NFC East. What do you got?
This division's crazy.
It used to be known as the NFC Beast, and it is no longer that. I can promise you that.
No, it's not, because that was the one year the Giants overperformed. I mean, ultimately, that was what kind of got them there.
For sure.
But I have Eagles, Cowboys, Giants, Commanders in this division.
Wow. Commanders last.
Yeah.
Dude, the Giants are going to be so bad.
Yeah, and the Commanders are going to be just as bad. Like, it's a coin flip,
dude, I'm not there.
Okay, let's argue about the top 2 teams.
Yeah.
Rather than the Commanders and the Giants.
It comes into play, dude.
I don't give a shit about those 2 teams.
I got Commanders second.
What?
I got Cowboys, Commanders, Eagles, Giants.
Dude.
Bro, Eagles disaster class incoming in 2025. It really is going to happen, dude. Like, they're going to go 7-10 or something. And I think the Commanders will just go like 9-8 or 8-9. I'm telling you, dude.
With who? With what?
Like, I think Daniel's going to be good. I've been thinking, the more and more I've been thinking about it, I think he's going to be pretty good. He's like 25. Like, he's not some like JJ McCarthy 20-year-old quarterback coming in the NFL that's like not ready. Like, he's been I'm not saying he's been playing NFL football, but like, I think he's going to be solid. He might not be like elite by any means, but I think he's going to be pretty solid. They have some pieces on that defense. It's not like a great unit or anything, but it's more so just to show my Eagles. Like,
you got some Eagles disdain.
No, dude. The way
this is good though.
I don't know if I've ever seen a team end the year, like a team that actually was good at least, end the year so poorly as the Eagles did last year. It was so bad. And even it came into that playoff game against the Bucs where you're like, okay, yeah, even though they ended the year, like 1-5 or something, or 1-4, and lost to some terrible teams in terrible fashion, they'll still win this game against the Bucs, right? Like, they'll be back, they'll be locked in for the playoffs. No, that game was terrible. They blamed everything on Brian Johnson, their OC last year. They fired him. They blamed everything on him. It was like, it was a terrible offense, blah blah blah. So you bring in Kellen Moore, who was good in Dallas for several years, goes to Los Angeles, and there was a clear something going on there between, I don't know if it was a Brandon Staley thing, I don't know if it was a Kellen Moore thing, there was a clash going on there. But you bring Kellen Moore to an offense that is just much different than what he has had as his time as an OC in the NFL with Dallas. The change from Dallas to Los Angeles was kind of fun. It's like, oh, okay, like this could be, they could turn the Chargers into like a run and gun type offense.
Yeah.
Philly, it's a much different situation. And to me, I think losing the greatest center in NFL history is kind of a bigger loss than maybe it's getting used as, I guess. So I don't know. I can't get there with Philly. I think it's a terrible blow it up year. I don't think Hurts is that crazy good. I think he's good. I don't think he's that good. And I think that just the Eagles being good for a couple years ago was a classic situation of they have a really good offensive and defensive coordinator. Mm-hmm. And both of them left, Shane Steichen and Jonathan Gannon, to get head coaching jobs. And we saw last year what happens when those guys don't get replaced accordingly. I'm scared for when that happens with the Lions, but that's a different conversation because we have a really good offensive and defensive coordinator. So I'm not in on the Eagles.
I think There's something about Jalen Hurts that has always been, and it's a recent development, I guess. I say always been, but it's because of his performance. This will be his 4th different OC in 4 years. And the dude has been unreal for that situation.
Yeah, for ssure.
Like,
for sure.
Head of the team, captain at the helm, guiding the ship all the time, keeping it right. Now, and I do believe Jason Kelce was a big part of the guiding the ship. There's no question about it. The guy had a locker room presence, and that absolutely matters, especially in football.
I mean, he called plays.
Football is a vibes game. Absolutely. If you don't believe football isn't about caring and passion at some point, you're wrong. And that's where Jason Kelce makes everybody care and passionate.
Yeah.
You miss out a little bit of that this year. I think there's going to be a little bit of a revenge tour. Here's the best part about Philly sports. They go one of two ways. It's either going to be awesome or like you think it's going to be a disaster. There is two ways this goes, right? It's no different than the 76ers. It's no different than the Phillies. They are either going to be the best of the best or like last year, it's going to end in horrible fashion and it's going to be burn the Eagles, stadium to the ground.
Yeah.
But I think this team is too talented. I think they have too many weapons. I do not think they will struggle. I think their defense will struggle. But I think offensively they will be able to keep up with anybody. I think you go A.J. Brown, Saquon, Devontae Smith, and Jalen Hurts.
It's a lot of fun.
It's the most ridiculous sounding offense I've ever heard of, other than Mahomes, Tyreek, and Kelce.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it. I'm really, really high on the Eagles, and I think our awards will show I am.
Okay, really? Too. Nice. But I do have the Cowboys winning the division. I think the Cowboys, now that they have paid CD, things are going to be a little bit different. The vibes there are not great. They made some questionable decisions this offseason as far as who's prioritizing to pay. They paid Zach Martin before everyone else, which is just kind of...
What words you're going to say about your players.
Right,
Definitely were all bad.
Now, they paid CD, which is nice. They still haven't paid Dak. I don't think Dak is a threat to sit out, though. I believe he will still play. I really do like the Cowboys this year as much as I like their defense is going to be healthy. Well, Bland is out right now, but I hate the Cowboys, but I think they're going to be good. So I have them winning the division. Cowboys 9.5 win total. Eagles 10.5. Eagles minus 140 to win this division. All right, last division, NFC West. Really difficult division, man. I think this is a really, really tough one. Like I said earlier, Niners are minus 190 to win this division. Niners at an 11.5 win total. Rams at 8.5, and then the Seahawks and Cardinals both at 7.5 here. What's your order?
My order's weird.
I really legit think like there's so many different ways you could go with this order.
My number one team is the Arizona Cardinals.
Oh, wow. I love this.
My number two team is the San Francisco 49ers. And then I go Rams, and then I go Seahawks.
Okay. Wow.
Dude, I am so high on the Cardinals this year. I think the return of Kyler Murray, the weapons he has at his disposal, he is the most disrespected QB in the NFL.
Totally agree.
It's not close. He has one of the best arms, some of the best legs, an incredible decision maker. He is so good, and now we just gave him the best receiver he's ever had. I mean, he had D-Hop, but he wasn't.
Yeah, D-Hop was pretty good.
Kyler said it recently. He's like, I had Larry Fitzgerald and D-Hop at the end of their careers. He is getting Marvin.
That's disrespectful to say to D-Hop, low-key.
He's had a few years since, too.
He's been on the Titans for, 3 years now?
And had 6 catches since the Cardinals. But, I think I think Marvin Harrison is going to step up, and he's an instant top 10 receiver in the NFL. I think Trey McBride is a top 3 tight end in the NFL. James Conner is still great. They have Trey Benson in the backfield, who's explosive. Greg Dulcich is still on the team, right?
Yeah, he is.
This team, there's no reason they're bad. Now, defensively, I don't really know.
Yeah.
I'm a fantasy football guy. Defense,
sorry, it's all vibes.
But the vibes in Arizona feel like they're going to be elite, and I'm so excited for it. This isn't like the 49ers are bad. This is like the Cardinals are that good.
I think the 49ers could not win the division, though. I think it's this division is really good. So, there's definitely a situation. We got to remember, for a good amount of the year last year, the Seahawks were in the lead for this division. Probably until week 10 or 11. I'm pretty sure the Seahawks had control of this division. Ended up not even making the playoffs. But, yeah, there's definitely a possibility. There goes that thing again.
Wow, we've gone through 2 rotations.
We've gone through 2 of those. I don't remember when we started, so it doesn't mean we go for 2 hours. But
no, we started at 5:30. Yeah, so it's the 6th and the 7th.
So that thing is just so annoying when I'm trying to speak. Okay,
Is there a
anyways.
rap song called Regulator? Regulator.
I do not know.
I think so.
Okay, for me, this one hurts, man, because a couple like a weeks ago when I was just thinking about making futures. Let me just say this, and then I'll say this. I do have 49ers winning. I didn't think I could have both 49ers and Chiefs not winning their division. So I have 49ers winning, Seahawks second, Cardinals third, Rams fourth. This hurts me because I almost made a futures bet like a week ago or 2 weeks ago that was Stafford MVP, Stafford to lead league in passing yards. I think it could happen.
It's the only way the Rams make the playoffs.
I'll talk about the Rams in a sec. Yeah, I'm here for the Cardinals thing, man. When we talk about teams that, like, we got to get new teams in the playoffs, Cardinals are one of the favorites for me to do that because they also were, like, pretty good for years in a row. And then, like, Kyler goes down and everything's last year was definitely their gap year of trying to figure the in between, the transition to the next era of Kyler Murray football with the Cardinals, and it's with Marvin Harrison, obviously. Seahawks also kind of, for me, fall into that new coach thing. It's weird because I'm doing two Michigan guys here as the new coach thing, but Mike McDonald there in Seattle, I think he could be a lot of fun. Obviously, very successful with both Michigan and with the Ravens on the defensive side. Their defense is so young, has a lot of playmakers at both levels. That offensive line is still really bad, but they have maybe the best receiver trio in the NFL. I'm a big K9 guy. Hopefully he can have a big breakout year this year. Geno, I don't know how much of time. I think Geno's good. I definitely do. I don't know how much longer they decide to like keep rocking with Geno. But I still think he's good. Like I do think Geno Smith is good. He was really good 2 years ago. Last year was kind of up and down. But yeah, I think the Seahawks are going to be pretty good there at second. And with the Rams at 4, it just is like, man, they seem like one of those teams that is just an every other year at this. Like with the way that they're built nowadays, it just seems like they're an every other year kind of team. Obviously, 3 years ago, Super Bowl, win it all. The year after that, everybody gets injured and everything goes wrong, basically. Last year, yeah, Kupp got injured, but for the most part, everybody was healthy. And they make the playoffs and were a real threat to make a run in the NFC, honestly. I think they almost beat the Lions in that game. If they beat the Lions, who knows what happens after that.
Luckily, I was there.
You were there, exactly. And then this year, I just think it's back to that year of just like, man, Stafford has had so many nagging injuries since he's gotten to LA. Obviously, in Detroit, he had them for so long, but they weren't like this elbow thing, this wrist thing.
Shoulder.
So they also lost the best defensive player to ever play the game. And that's just a pretty big loss. I understand they drafted Jared Verse and everything, but there isn't a bigger loss I think you could have in the entire NFL than maybe like Mahomes, at least on the defensive side. Yeah. Like that really changes a lot of things. The Rams have been a very successful drafting team the last several years, and maybe they finally had a first round pick in Jared Verse this year for the first time since Jared Goff, which is hilarious. So maybe they hit with that first round pick because they have been really good drafting in the later rounds the last couple of years, but when I look at these other two teams and I have to do something new, it's like I got to boot the Rams out. I can't circle them in to make the playoffs 2 straight years based off of the injury history that this entire group of guys has had.
Yep.
And the loss of Aaron Donald.
Absolutely. And you made some big statements throughout that 2 minutes there. You made the best receiver trio in the NFL. Which, like, they're probably not close.
Okay, you're right. But saying, like, just the top 3, like, not... Obviously, you could just say, like, Kupp and Puka and whoever is better.
Well, I'm saying, yeah, A.J. Brown, Devontae, and Jahan.
Yeah, I guess I kind of forgot about Dotson. I kind of forgot about him going to Philly.
Yeah, that's the one that's, like, obvious to me.
You're right.
And then I would probably go the Dolphins at Tyreek Waddle, and I would say H.N., because I think he'll be more of a receiver.
He's not a receiver.
I think this year he might be.
But he's a running back.
Yeah, right now he's a running back. I think by the end of this year, he's literally...
I'm talking not the top 3 receivers. If we're doing that, you could throw Kelsey in there. I'm talking the 3 wide receivers.
Okay. Yeah, then you're right. I'm just saying, AJ,
who even is the Dolphins'
might look
third
beyond.
Guy? Is Braxton Berrios still there?
I don't know. I have no clue.
Is Trent Sherwood or whatever still there? I don't know.
Trent Sherwood, never even heard of him.
Sure something, yeah.
No, I like all your picks. I think the Stafford MVP pick is actually fun because like the only way the Rams make the playoffs.
If Stafford stays healthy, like he could lead the league in passing yards, absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Now, if Stafford can stay healthy, is a win.
And Kupp or Puka might win Offensive Player of the Year.
For sure, could.
Like very, very well could.
But yeah, I have the Rams last, which I didn't really want to do. Okay, let's do our NFC playoff picture here. So 1 through 4 conference winners and our 3 wildcard teams.
Number 1 team in the NFC is the Detroit Lions. Number 2, the Philadelphia Eagles. Number 3, the Arizona Cardinals. Number 4, the Bucks. Number 5, the 49ers. Number 6, the Packers. And the last team to make it in is them boys, the Cowboys from Dallas.
Ooh.
So the big team missing is the Rams and the Bears, I would think. Unless you really are a believer in the Falcons, but like you're probably just
no. There's no way that team has a wild card team or that
not
conference has
over
a
the
wild card
Rams
team
or the
ever.
Bears.
Yeah, definitely not. Okay, so for me, I have Lions as the 1 seed. You had Lions 1 seed too, right?
Yeah.
I have Lions, Cowboys, Niners, Bucks.
Okay.
And then my 3 wildcard teams are Packers, Seahawks, Cardinals. So for a second straight time, I only have 2 new teams here, and they're both in the wild card, which is a little bit sketchy, just assuming that the same 4 teams are all going to win the...
Cowboys made it last year, right?
Yeah, they did. Wait, who won the... Yeah, the Cowboys won the NFC East last year, and the Eagles
The
were wild
Packers
card.
made it last year.
Packers made it last year, yeah. So
I only have 1 new team.
Seahawks, Cardinals are my 2 new teams.
I only have the Cardinals.
Just the Cardinals?
Yeah. Oh, that's bad.
That's not good.
That's not good. That ain't happening.
No, you're screwed.
Dude, the Saints might win the NFC. Just kidding. Just kidding.
So yeah, that's it.
How will the Saints score points? Like, they just won't.
They just won't.
They're not going to.
They
dude.
really won't, yeah. I used to be the Derek Carr guy, and it's just, I mean,
You were,
time
too.
has passed, obviously,
Yeah.
since then, but like,
Time's passed.
he's
Wow,
really
time's
bad.
passed.
He's really bad now.
really
Rattler
bad.
probably gets in at some point this year. That's another QB.
Oh my gosh.
You know, he probably
and we
does.
didn't-
I mean,
and you
like-
said JJ late. We didn't say JJ.
Right.
That's like 8 QBs that came in the league
Literally.
this year.
It's pretty
It's
unreal.
pretty weird.
Okay. Ooh. Also, another QB that could be better. Who will be better in 2 years? Bryce Young or Aiden O'Connell? I just thought of another 2023 QB.
Bryce Young.
Okay, Super Bowl. Who you got?
I have the Lions facing. I'm gonna go Lions and Jets.
Oh, screw that, dude.
How awesome.
We would lose. We would lose. We would so lose. Oh, that's I would hate it.
No, that's how we go out. That's how the world celebrates the end
Beat
of
Aaron
Rodgers.
Rodgers. Lions beat him. We already did that. We already beat Aaron Rodgers. And
Yeah,
the
but that was
Packers
the
in this
that was the
last
end of the
game.
Packers. Rodgers. We all knew he wasn't dead. You can
He
kill him,
could
but
be
he
dead.
won't die.
I mean, up to this point, he's still dead. Since then, you
Right,
know?
yeah.
Like he tried to revive himself and was down.
That damn
immediately.
ayahuasca.
Yeah.
Tried to revive him.
Who knows what happens? I also think it's hilarious that they just have them opening up on Monday night again this year. Like
They're just hoping for
just
the
the
same thing.
same exact thing.
They're
to happen
hoping. The
this year,
NFL's
yeah.
like, how perfect. What a script.
I'll go Lions over Ravens. I think this is the year that the Ravens finally get to the Super Bowl because the Chiefs can't do it. Well, they could do it, but they're just going to lose in it, so might as well just not even make it. All right. Awards. We can kind of fly through these.
Yeah.
Do we want to start with the crappy ones or go big ones? Right
yeah,
off the
let's
rip?
go with the crappy
Okay,
ones first.
comeback player of the year.
Calvin Ridley.
What does that even make sense?
He's gonna come back from being bad.
So that's
That's only happened like once or twice in all of it. Didn't Stafford do that?
no.
I thought Stafford won it after a year of just like.
I think he
playing
just.
solid
I think he won it
football.
a year after he got injured. I'm pretty sure.
There's a guy, if you look at the list, where it's like he actually wasn't hurt the year before.
No, there was. I'm trying to remember who it was. You're right because they don't have the odds for this award on FanDuel.
And I
But
honestly can't really like Nick Chubb. I can't really think of another
Chubb's.
guy
Not,
who's
I mean,
hurt.
like Aaron Rodgers.
no.
I pick Rodgers.
You
They're-
can't
They're
win
gonna
comeback.
give it to Rodgers. They're
he
gonna
got
give
the
it
best
to him.
story.
He has the best story. He went out on the first play of the game or first drive of the game. Like he's gonna win.
He's gonna have the American flag.
Burrow could win it too. Burrow's definitely in that consideration. Herbert could win it. I mean, he went out later in the year, but it's going to go to Aaron Rodgers. I'm picking him. But I also do agree that like it's weird. Well, Geno was the guy who won comeback player of the year 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Didn't come back from an injury or anything. Came back from being bad.
Yeah.
And then the every other time it's been just a guy that's come back from injury. So it's like, well, if we're doing the like realistically, Baker Mayfield should have won it last year, right? Led
Yeah.
his team to the playoffs and after being bad. And who won it last year? Like McCaffrey, I think. No. Who won it last
I can
year?
look it up.
I'm pretty sure it was just somebody that got injured.
I think you're right. I'm trying to think of. It wasn't DeMar Hamlin, was it?
Oh, I think it was DeMar Hamlin. Or no, it was Flacco.
Oh,
Was it Flacco?
Yeah, who wasn't hurt?
Or was
the
it
year
DeMar
before.
Hamlin?
It
So
was Joe
Flacco
Flacco.
came back from
It
being
was
bad.
Joe Flacco.
Yeah. Flacco came, which like low key DeMar Hamlin, like if we're like as much as I wasn't like DeMar Hamlin probably should have won. I mean, he literally came back from dying and played football.
Yeah,
and then the Bills gave him the ball on a fake punt in the playoffs. Like, just the craziest play ever.
Yeah, he did come back.
Okay, coach of the year. Shut up. I was wondering what you were trying to do with that. Are you still one of those guys?
It's Amar Damlin. No, I've never actually real life been one of those guys.
Dude, those guys scare me.
Oh, they're also the flat earthers.
Because it's just like, dude, get a life. Everything that happens in life isn't a conspiracy theory, man. Oh, I could talk to my mom about this all the time. She's a freaking conspiracy theory.
Is my mom, dude.
Oh, I can't stand it. I hope she hears me saying this right now, dude. I can't stand the conspiracy theories, dude.
My mom's
too much Joe Rogan.
Oh, my mom's in like the airplanes that like spray like
things happen in life that are just normal. Not everything has like secrets about it.
I mean, my mom might not believe all birds are real. Like it's that bad. It's that bad.
Okay.
Coach of the year.
Coach of the year.
Nick Sirianni.
Wow.
He's back.
Nick Sirianni, let's see where he's at odds-wise to win Coach of the Year. Because I don't think he won it a couple years ago when they were at plus 4,000 for Nick Sirianni.
Hey, that's good. That's good budget.
I'm taking the favorite. I'm taking Jim Harbaugh. If the Chargers are the 2 seed, Harbaugh wins it. Plus 1,000.
First year back is the best coach of the NFL. It says a lot.
Mike McDonald at plus 1,200. I don't mind. I also like my runner-up for this one, DeMeco Ryans at plus 1,600. Like if the Texans go out and get the 1 seed or something.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Why wouldn't he
get it in year 2? Jonathan Gannon of Arizona. I think if he wins the division for like you have in yours, I think he could for sure win it at plus 1,800.
Could Shane Steichen win it?
Steichen could win it too. Yeah, he's at plus 1,400. So a lot of guys. Defensive Rookie of the Year.
I got Chop Robinson.
Okay, I thought about going that way.
He's got an awesome name.
I went Homer. Terry and Arnold. Gonna be CB1 on the Lions.
7 picks.
Just gonna be like Sauce. He's gonna be the Sauce Gardner of a couple years ago. So
but he doesn't have a name like Chop.
They don't have odds for this either, so can't tell you my runner-ups or anything. So
this is the most boring one.
Offensive Rookie of the is it? I think
no, you're right.
I think it's kind of fun.
Let's have the discussion. So obviously, like Jaden Daniels is here, Caleb Williams right there. Like these guys could easily win it, but there is just I have the Cardinals winning the division. I have the Cardinals being really good. How could it not be Marv?
So you're going to say this is the most boring one for the one that you don't even have the favorite being picked?
Yeah, I guess. Marv isn't the favorite. Is it Caleb
No,
Williams?
it's Caleb. Obviously, it's Caleb. Yeah.
I mean, QB usually wins it, but like Marv will deserve it by the end of the year.
Yeah, I did pick Caleb Williams. I think this is just kind of those ones that he's such the fit. He's plus 120 to win this award. That's incredibly low value for a before season award pick.
Especially when there's 100 players that could win.
Yeah, exactly. I do think Jane Daniels at plus 600 and Marv at plus 650 is like great value if those guys just are
Jane
great.
Daniels is a great pick.
Yeah, I think he's going to put up stats. He's going to play all year too.
Yep.
But I do pick Caleb Williams. I think he's going to be good. As much as I was talking crap earlier, like I think he's going to be good. But like I said, those other 2 picks are pretty good. If you want to go really saucy, Keon Coleman plus 3,700.
That would be saucy. That'd be saucy.
Okay, Defensive Player of the Year.
I've got Micah Parsons.
Yeah, I also have Micah Parsons. This is just probably the year for him, right? He hasn't won one yet. He was in debate basically with Myles Garrett all of last year, except the Steelers fans that still think TJ Watt should have won, like they do every year. I think Myles Garrett repeating is definitely probably in the works as well. Like the repeat awards for Defensive Player of the Year just happen a lot.
Yeah.
JJ won 3 in a row. Aaron Donald won 3 in a row. Like that definitely could happen. But yeah, I also went with Micah Parsons, but Aiden Hutchinson at plus 1,400.
Not bad.
Plus 1,400. That's deploy potential, low key.
That's not that bad.
The problem is there's just too many good edge rushers in the NFL.
Oh,
He's just not in. I hope this year he gets in that tier of edge rushers.
Yeah, the TJ
but he's
Watts,
still,
the Garretts.
yeah, he's still out of the TJ Watt, Myles Garrett, even Max Crosby, Micah Parsons. He's just not even Nick Bosa. Like he's not in that group yet. Yep. Hopefully he gets to that group this year. Offensive Player of the Year. This is like my favorite award to predict because it's just kind of like whoever has the best year that isn't the MVP. Essentially, last year it was McCaffrey, which also I wrote down. I should have wrote down the other ones. Seth nailed this. He picked McCaffrey to win it last year and got it. I picked Tyreek, so I was kind of close. You picked Jamar. Jamar got injured. So kind of was ineligible. And just take a wild guess who Willie picked.
It was Kenny Pickett.
George Pickens. He picked Kenny Pickett to be MVP.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even have to write that one down. I just know that.
God, that was...
But who's your Offensive Player of the Year pick?
I have who I think will finish as the number 1 wide receiver in the NFL this season. I think he is the team's entire passing volume, and I think the rookie tight end last year got a lot more love than he will get this year. And Amon-Ra St. Brown, I think, will win Offensive Player of the Year.
Nice.
I ultimately think the entire passing volume is on Amon-Ra's shoulders. I don't know if Jameson Williams, I don't know what his career looks like from here on out.
Right.
So
this is a big year for
Amon-Ra.
J-Mo, for sure.
I really like Amon-Ra.
Plus 1,600 for Amon-Ra. He's the 8th highest odds there. I'm doing something that is not, like, if from a fantasy perspective, it's probably not the best idea because this guy finished as wide receiver 1 last year. But I really just feel like he's the guy in this offense, and this offense is so high powered. I'm taking CeeDee Lamb to win Offensive Player of the Year. I think that he just last year it was like Tyreek, and CD just had like the most insane second half of the year ever. CD's at plus 1,100. I just feel like this offense, this Dallas offense isn't going anywhere with the way that they play. They lost Tony Pollard. Like, I think they might throw the ball even more. Their percentage of pass to run this year, I think, is going to be incredible.
For real.
And CeeDee Lamb just is the guy there. Like, he's going to do what he did in the second half last year, probably from the rip this year. Didn't participate in training camp, which might be a little bit of a concern, I guess, going into the season, but I don't know. I don't think it should be too big of a concern with a guy that's played several years in a row. Some other guys I like for this, like Garrett Wilson at plus 2,500 is kind of fun, kind of spicy. Both Brees and Bijan at plus 1,600 I think are fun.
Yep.
But Tyreek is the favorite to win this at plus 750. McCaffrey at plus 950.
Those are good odds, though.
We need to talk about McCaffrey before you go. Like, are you upset that you got McCaffrey first?
No. I'm back onto the train of like, we're just gonna rock out.
Yeah.
Like, there's a chance he's just healthy.
Totally, there's a chance he's obviously
a chance he's healthy.
I mean, he's been healthy since getting to San Francisco.
Never had an issue.
Since he's arrived, he's been there a year and a half, he's been healthy, which is a really good sign. To assume that it's going to happen for another full season is tough to do with a guy of his caliber, you know?
All I need
Who's done this several times now in his career where it's like, yeah, RB1, picked first overall, injured. Yep. I think it's happened like twice to him already.
Yep.
Here's what happens. I was just kind of wondering, though.
If we get 6 weeks in, and he's the number 1 running back, there's a good chance I trade him. If we get 6 weeks in and he's the number 10 running back, I'm not trading him.
Yeah,
and he's healthy.
Right.
Like, we're just going to rock
You
out.
stash him, yeah, for sure. And I'm not saying he's getting like injured for the year, but even just like misses 3 games here, you know, and then like comes back for 5 games and misses another one, like something like that.
But I do got Jordan Mason, though.
True. That's good. Jordan Mason, Offensive Player of the Year odds. It's so funny looking at the odds for this, by the way. Because it just is endless. Like of guys,
you can pick any guy.
Like Josh Downs plus 30,000. Dontavian Wicks of the Packers plus 40,000. J-Mo has worse odds than Dontavian Wicks. Are we serious, bro?
What about that white receiver?
Okay, the lowest odds I can go. Well, I guess it's just based off of alphabetical. That's why he's this low. Zamir White at plus 40,000, and then Mac Hollins is also at plus 40,000. How do him and Zamir White have the same odds?
Yeah, for real. Zamir
Mac
White
Hollins? He's a starting running back. Mac Hollins is like wide receiver 5 on the Bills. Okay,
MVP.
Who is Louis Reese Zammit? He's got the same odds as Zamir White. I'm a Zamir White fantasy owner. That makes me kind of worried. Okay, yeah, MVP.
I'll tell you this, I had Jalen Hurts here. And I just changed it because there's like no way you win Coach of the Year and MVP.
I mean, you could, but I get what you're saying.
I have the surprise team, the worst to first in the division. I've got the Kyler Murray winning MVP this season.
Wow.
And
big Cardinals year.
Yeah, big Cardinals year.
Kyler Murray MVP at plus 5,000. He's like number 20 down the list. I like that, dude. That's a lot of fun. My sleeper pick, this isn't the guy who I'm going to pick. I legit think Dak MVP is like, it definitely could happen. Mm-hmm. He's at plus 2,000. He's not even that far down the list. He's 10th. He's got the same odds as Tua. He's below Brock Purdy. I mean, come on. He's below Jordan Love. Joe Burrow is 3rd in this ranking to win MVP. I don't know. I just think that I think I'm kind of out on Burrow just being healthy in general.
I'm out on, yeah. I'm just... Joe low-key.
He had his time like already, which is weird.
Joe
Burrow's also like 30 already, you know, like he's old. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if he's quite 30.
Yeah, I mean, he played 4 years
like
college.
29. He was like 25 when he got drafted.
Yeah.
This is just a guy that like there's no way he doesn't get an MVP in his career, and maybe this is the Mahomes year because Lamar won it last year, but I'm going Josh Allen. Josh Allen just has to win an MVP at some point, and maybe this year without Diggs, it really unleashes something else with him. I mean, he's already going to lead the league in passing yards. He's going to have crazy rushing upside and touchdowns as well. Going to have a lot of picks for sure, but maybe if he lowers those picks, it makes it easier for him to win MVP.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take him. But yeah, I mean, CJ Stroud is another kind of sleeper at plus 1,200. You can get Lamar Jackson at plus 1,600. He's seventh down the list. I mean, there's no reason why he can't just do what he did last year again.
Yeah. I don't like CJ Stroud at 1,200.
Yeah, he's fourth.
Bad.
He's fourth.
That'd make him the greatest first 2-year quarterback.
Fourth is crazy.
In NFL history. Like
Probably.
he'd be the easiest, greatest start in NFL history.
Yeah. I mean, Mahomes did throw for 50 touchdowns in year 2, but
did he win MVP?
Yeah.
Oh, never mind. Never mind.
Oh, then Mahomes, obviously. Yeah, I think he won the Super Bowl.
Yeah. CJ Stroud's got a lot of work to do.
Other than Mahomes, though, obviously. Yeah. Okay, does that wrap everything up?
Yeah, how long was this?
This was hour 45.
Nice. Killing it.
Went by super fast, obviously. So, all right, well, thanks for coming on, Easton. Football season is back, everybody. So enjoy your weekend. Enjoy every weekend from here on out because it's going to be freaking phenomenal. We're out. Peace.